What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, a podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. Bro, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm a little cramped. Slightly new setup.
You know, yeah,
I just realised I don't have... I'm sort of doing this.
All of the space in the world.
Yeah. We got more space.
We got more space and we've made it...
And then we immediately cramped... We immediately cramped in.
Yo, that's something that I figured out with moving to this new house. I was like, oh, sweet, it's got like an extra bedroom, it's got like storage space in so-and-so places. And then having that space, it almost like I felt the necessity to fill in
the gap.
I have to. I can't just have, what's that empty space doing over there? Can't have that. And
yeah, it's now, space. Oh,
now I'm like, why haven't I got all this space? Where's all the space gone? But how you feeling, bro? How's life treating you, my gamer?
Knackered, mate. Absolutely knackered. Don't have any time for anything. The last few weeks, it should be calming down. But like, we were talking about Baldur's Gate. Downloaded it. It's downloaded. I have it. I'm in possession of it. Purchased, downloaded, ready to go.
Ready to go.
The second
guys.
I have time to play, Baldur's Gate 3. I've got it.
Oh,
That'll be a thing that I play.
I'm so excited for you to get going into it because you're more of a D&D guy than I am.
Yeah.
And even I have been enjoying the fudge out of this game. I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute moron.
I know.
Because this game came out on PC. Yeah, sorry, we're talking about this specific situation. Don't get I'm a fucking dickhead. This game came out on, what was it, like the 3rd of August on PC.
Yeah.
So it came out for a while, and it was just like, it was talked about, but I was like, oh, you know, there's other games going to come out in a month or so. I don't have the time for it. Also, I don't know if it's my kind of game, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And as time went on, I was like, oh my God, I want to play this game.
Keep hearing all the positivity about
all the praise about it, all the praise. And then it comes up to, I'm like, oh, but Starfield's coming. I want to play Starfield. And it was like 3 days away from Starfield.
Yeah.
And we started to hear a couple of negative things, which wasn't everything to do with Reason Web. But then out of nowhere, I was just like, do you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. We had our discussion on the podcast. I was like, you know what? I think we should do it. I think we should do it when we're off. 3 days away from like the end of the week where you had the off and one. I was like, I'm buying it. I bought it. Sunk many hours into it. Enjoying the shit out of it.
I'm glad to hear that.
And subsequently this game that I said in the last podcast I said I would play, Starfield, we're gonna have to apologize, did not at all get to that because I've been playing all this game. No I was like, I'm not gonna buy it unless I've got time for it, and it might come down to like sale or something like that, and
I feel like the thing with Starfield is all the people that the best thing I'm seeing from it is it's like, oh, it's the best Bethesda game in a while.
Yes,
you know. And that's sort of like the Halo Infinite praise. That's the best 343 Halo.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but it's not good. It's not as good as the OGs. It's not as good as Bungie's. It's not good as Reach or Halo 3. Like, this is almost the worst case scenario where like Starfield comes out and I just get them. People just seem to have stopped really talking about it. There's not any buzz about it. Yeah. Like, I know that people that are playing it and enjoying it, and like I'm really happy for that. And I keep seeing people post up like there are like space sea shanties and stuff that are in the game that are really like catching people, you know.
Yeah.
And like that's all cool. But then you see a few more people talking about it, and like the world kind of feels a bit empty. There's not quite a lot to it. You know,
space exploration isn't a thing.
Yeah. There's weird things like the AI ship combat. It's targeted to the middle of the ship. So if you make your ship like an L shape or a cube where it's just the outline, like they can't hit you.
I saw that someone made like a cube with the hollow middle, and nothing was hitting.
It's like that intro scene in Jedi Fallen Order where you can just hang there on that girder and they can't hit you.
Yeah,
it's like that. And then there's little things like, you know, there's that same mine on every planet with it's the exact same mine with the exact same thing at the bottom of it, and then you have Baldur's Gate and all you're hearing is, oh, you know, I was going to finish it, but I started playing another character, or I want to romance this different character, or I want to try a different build, or I missed this one thing and had to go back, or my friend got it, so I started a co-op with him because you know you play the co-op when you're together. So, like, I
could 100% see all of those things because I'm even pissed about my playthrough. I told you on text, and I'll tell you again here. I went for Geralt of Rivia. That was what I was going for, and I was going for a Henry Cavill look, but Geralt of Rivia. Geralt, quite intelligent, quite charismatic.
Oh yeah.
He's very strong. He's got like good dexterity on him. Like he bounces around. He's good. He can like pirouette with the thing. So he's very good in a lot of things. There's very few things that he's not good at. So I'm like, cool. I'll make my character based on that. Ended up making a kind of like
everything.
Exactly, but pretty much like an average
like
guy.
13s across the board.
Right, exactly. And if you don't know Dungeons and Dragons, I had to find out the hard way. That's not good.
No,
you don't have it. You don't excel at anything, so you're crap at everything.
There are two jokes in the D&D world with like how making things. One is min-maxing, and people complain about min-maxers.
Right.
They're like, if you're a wizard, for example, your intelligence is your like big stat. If you're a fighter or a barbarian, it would be strength. And they're like, well, of course, everybody like puts all of their points into strength and then dump stats like intelligence. Or if you're a wizard, all of it into intelligence, you dump stat is strength.
Right,
and like, oh, it's not normal. Well, actually, if you learnt magic, like if you got teleported to a new world, you wouldn't be like, oh no, I want to get into a sword fight. You'd be like, no, I can blast the guy with fireball from all the way over here. So of course you'd do that.
Yeah.
But people say that's like not normal, but that's how we all do it.
That's
the best way to do it. And the only reason I would ever say not to do that is if there were like really good role play. This is in an actual tabletop version. If there were really good role play reasons not to do that. So like this is real D&D here, but right. I have this concept in my mind of an older guy who is actually dead. Like this would be his backstory.
Okay.
So he used to be like a barbarian, like really muscular, but died and was dead for a few years. So all of his muscles wasted away.
Cool.
So when he comes back, he's a lot thinner. So he has to be a rogue.
Right.
Because he doesn't have the physical strength.
That makes sense.
To figure out why he's back. Like why is he alive?
Yeah.
But in that character arc, like for him, it would make sense for a rogue to have a bit more strength because they're a dexterity build generally. But above and beyond that, for the one bit of the reveal as to like what you used to be, it's absolutely not worth it unless there are like RP reasons, and there aren't reasons like that in the game. So you just want to min-max. You want to be a glass cannon.
You
want to be absolutely all about strength, but you need to talk to a guy. No. You need to rip his head off. I'm your guy.
And I'm totally in the business of save scumming and finding the coolest path. Like if something happens and I'm like, no, surely I could have been able to do this. That's what I want to do. Revert to an old save, use another character, whatever it needs to be, say the right thing. There was one, for example, where there's this, I'm not going to say who it is. I'm going to barely gloss over it. So as a character, I needed to gain her trust and then like stab her in the back in like a private room somewhere.
Okay, cool.
And she told me to take a potion, and I could tell because I was a half elfling or something like that it was a sleeping potion. Like it was just one of my abilities, and the narrator told me, and I was like, well, that's not going to affect me because I'm like I'm half elf. That's not going to do anything. And when I took it, she immediately got offended and attacked me, and then everyone in the base attacked me, and I was like, shit, that's not the way I want to go. So then I took a human who could be affected by it. Was affected, and then the whole scenario played out differently, and I managed to kill her in a back room, and I was like, yes, this is the way I want it to go.
The other, so there's 2 points I'll make on that. One is that it's your first playthrough, so like if things get fucked up, have you seen the Dungeons and Dragons movie?
No.
That's the one with Chris Pine and
yeah.
First of all,
apparently good.
Pretty funny. That is, by the way, a movie exactly how a D&D campaign goes. So, like, they make plans, it immediately goes wrong, nothing goes their way. They somehow manage to fumble fuck their way into an okay outcome, but that's a real D&D campaign. If you didn't know if you were the character, you didn't know you were being played by idiots on a table, right? So, would recommend that you watch it. It's good fun. But part of that is best laid plans. You fail a charisma roll. They don't like you. They immediately attack you. It goes that way. And then the next time you play it, it goes a different way. So I'm not saying don't save scum.
No.
But like there are sometimes not save scumming or things going a way you don't expect can be really funny or give you these bits of the games that you would never find yourself naturally there. To open that to
I know this in my head. It's just when it comes down to it, I'm like, but you're right. That should be how I do it.
In your scenario there's no reasonable reason to think it would go that way. And you will get a feel for it, like, you maybe if you were like in your first hour, you might not have realized, I need somebody with high charisma to do this one thing, or I need someone with high strength to do this thing. But probably, how many hours you got in the game now? Like 5?
Something like 20.
20. Okay, cool. So by this point, like, you have an idea of who you need to achieve certain things in your group.
Yeah.
So like that, you can sort of stack the odds in your favor. But as like an actual tabletop D&D player, I never fudge rolls. So like, there are people who I'm totally willing for my character to die if the dice decide it. I let the dice decide everything.
Bruv, but the fucking D20 dice is out to get you. It's a fucking op, bruv.
Yeah, it is.
It's out to kill you at every turn.
Yeah, it
that
is.
fucking dice can go suck a dick.
Mate.
Every time I get on there, there's an option for you to add like a buffs to your dice. And I'm like, cool, I got 6 buff. I need to get 10. I can nail this for sure. 2.
Yeah.
Fucking dick.
That's the world you live in. That's the world you live in. But I'm one of these players, so I will never fake a roll. Ever. Because I think that's the best part of the game.
Right.
To the point, so my first campaign, I had this guy, he was just a barbarian. I wasn't looking to do any, weirdly for me, no in-game romance, none of that stuff. He just wants to kill people. That's all he does. And I randomly said this one thing. One of our characters came out of a really weird situation. I was like, how does he look? Like, and what I meant was like, is he fucked up? And the DM was like, roll me a d20. And I rolled a natural 20, and you're like, he's hot as fuck. Because the best part about D&D is people misunderstanding each other. And I was like, no, that's not what I meant. He's like, doesn't matter, he's hot as fuck. I'm like, fuck. and my guy who initially was straight was like, well, he's not that straight. And in game, me and my guy and this other dude's character, we ended up getting gay married. That's canon in our thing. Because I asked one question and then rolled a nat 20. Because like odds you're not attracted, even you are attracted. That's part of the thing.
Yeah.
So obviously it was the highest even. It was like, he's hot as fuck. Anyway, he ended up being my goblin boyfriend.
Hey, why not?
Husband.
Why not?
Yeah. But like, just because I didn't plan it, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Like, I'm all about letting the dice side. And if my character dies because I roll back-to-back nat ones, that's how it goes. I'll roll another character and I'll grieve for my dead character. But like, I'm all about it. And I've even said to the party, like, we come up with like crazy plans, and I assume this will happen in game, just not as you won't be as involved in it. But I'm willing to TPK. I'm willing for the whole party to die because we came up with a stupid idea. But I just need everybody at the table to know that I'm willing for that to happen, and this could go that way, and I'm okay with it. And I've said that a few times. I'm like, I'm down. Someone comes up with a stupid idea. It's funny to me. I'm willing to throw away the last 3 years of this campaign because this idea is funny. But we might all die.
3 years.
We had a 3-year campaign. I'm like, we might all die. I'm willing to do it.
I'm willing to throw it all away today, guys.
We went after Baba Yaga. Like
okay.
The big bad of this thing. And this one, but it was the Baba Yaga's daughter. Right. That we went after, so like a mega alpha hag, right, witch, and they were like, oh well, we know what Baba Yaga looks like, we'll all use minor image and make ourselves look like her and like fuck her up. And we did that. She immediately knew nothing. I think she had true sight or something like that ability. She just knows, and she's like, I know what you're doing. And then our bard amazingly rolled nat 20s for charisma checks and somehow made her think that even though she knew what she could see, it was still working somehow.
Okay, all right.
It was incredible.
I guess you can't overdo a 20, right?
I mean, for the record though, I don't know about the game, but in real D&D, just because you get a nat 20 doesn't mean it works.
I think, as far as I know, because there's
it's just what a nat 20 is. It's the best you could ever do at the thing. But just because you do your best doesn't mean it's gonna work. Do you know what I mean?
Well, when you get a 20, when you actually land a 20 dice, it's a critical success. It says on there. So I'm guessing that means something. Versus you getting a 19 and then your buff's pushing it above 20. It doesn't say critical success there. So I'm guessing rolling a 20 specifically means something.
Yeah.
So
because like I just let me put it to you this way: if in a real game you get to the big bad and you're a bard and you try and convince them to like top themselves and you roll on that 20, the big bad's not just going to kill themselves on the spot, right? But you were really convincing. After this he's probably going to like have some really bad intrusive thoughts.
Jesus, man, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Right.
These idiots killed me.
But like that, so just because you do the best you could ever do at the thing doesn't mean it succeeds. But I would guess in the game you're probably, How does the leveling work? Like, is it a level 1 area and a level 100 area, or is everything whatever level?
So I think it's everything. I think that's where I was having a bit of trouble as well. Because, like, for example, when I said I did that thing where I swapped over to a human and played it a different way, that was because I was overrun. I could not beat all of these people, and they had abilities that I had never even seen before. So I think I stumbled into an area that was far too high for me, and I was doing like 4 damage.
At least you hit him.
So when it says miss, do you know how angry I am? Because I have some abilities as well where it's like precision strike on top of my normal strike, and it's like 95%. Yes, miss. Fuck's sake. And then the guy has a counter attack as well, and I'm like, come on, leave me alone. I was bad enough. I got the miss.
But this comes down to like min-maxing. Sorry guys, we'll get off D&D talk in a second.
It's so fun.
Like, you can build your character in a certain way. Like, you can make your character have just a really high AC, which is like armor class, so how difficult they are to hit. But then, like, maybe you have to sacrifice other certain things for that, but it's just part of the way you're building it. And some characters, it makes a lot of sense. So, like, my barbarian had a pretty high AC for his, like, level. This is my tabletop guy. But hit him with magic attacks, done for. Hit him with... there's one called... there's mind control type spells. Which are charisma saves. My guy's no charisma, no intelligence.
Zero.
So it got to a point where my dude was like highest damage out of the group, just hard to hurt. Any physical attacks doing half damage to him, hard to hit, had tons of health. And so the DM just started throwing any people using like psychic damage, got no resistance to that. People using like, suggestions and like, And there was one point I was totally willing for it to happen. Just don't know, but the DM mind controlled my dude. And then we ended the session, and then we spent the next week figuring out how to boss fight my guy, because compared to the rest of the party, just based on how hard he was to hit and other certain features about him, like you couldn't touch him, he's poisonous. So you cannot touch the guy. Takes half damage on physical attacks, has loads of health, super strong, like can one shot 2 out of 4 people on the party if he maxes out the damage. We were like, this is a boss fight. You're gonna have to kill my character. So I'm there like, okay, what are the things he struggled with? You're gonna have to do this and do that. And anyway.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway, D&D is really good fun. I really want to get into Baldur's Gate. I really want to get into it.
It's pretty fun.
And I would love to co-op it with you, but the problem is our schedules.
We figured out an issue. So like I was wondering how it would work, and I found out that you have to essentially make your own dedicated save, so you both play together, and you have to be careful never to touch that save, otherwise it will desync, and then you guys can't play ever again. And I was like, oh, that kind of annoying, but I guess that's how it has to work. I mean, I don't see any other way of doing it. You can't just join my fucking game while I'm all halfway through and just come slay.
And also that was a problem with, like, we did that with The Division. If you would have ever played World of Warcraft, it would have been the exact same thing. So, like, on the one hand, I'm like, I get it. On the other hand, when are we ever going to have our schedules sync up? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just...
Maybe once or twice. I'll tell you something hilarious I did in Baldur's Gate that was, like, made me really laugh. So there was this one area, I'm in like a camp. Again, I'm not going to stay vague for the details, so I don't give stuff away. I'm in a camp, and there's this one person that I'm looking for. And I'm going around looking for him. I'm thinking, oh shit, I can't go this way, I can't go that way. These guys won't let me in over there. Where can I go over here? And I saw this one like wall that was like clickable, and I was like, ooh, it looks like it could crumble. And I'm like, what could I do to do it? Like maybe attack it or something like that, hit with a fireball, whatever it might be. And it says like it's got like hit points on it, so I know what I need to do. Unfortunately, there are sleeping enemies all around me. Now I've walked in there and I've sort of like snuck in and stuff like that. Some of the guys are cool with me. The ones that are sleeping, I'm guessing, would be angry if I was to wake them up.
Yeah, probably.
But while they're sleeping, I can one hit them and no, they don't make a noise. So I'm like, sick.
Assassinating.
So when I first went in there, I didn't know that. It was too early in the game. So I'm like, maybe the wall's far away enough. Hit the wall, immediately I'll wake up, immediately start attacking.
Yeah, that's when you save scum. Fine, fair enough. Yeah.
Went back, and I'm like, cool. Maybe I'll kill these guys that are really close to it, and then that's all I need to do. Kill these guys, try the wall again, wake the rest of the guys up, everyone starts attacking me. Like, fuck, go back again.
I'm just going to go and have to kill 70 bandits.
And I went through, slaughtered them all, and then I get to the wall, and then I figure out that I can't actually knock it down with anything that I've got. And I'm like, I've got a shovel, I've got my sword,
And
I've
you know
got
what
an
else
axe.
probably would have happened? It would have broken the wall, and it would have been, the secret recipe. This is exactly what the bandit leader has been looking for.
But nothing.
No, I just slaughtered him and his men. And he'll give you the ultimate reward in the game if you return this.
We'll now anoint you as our mayor.
Yeah. No.
I was just like, for fuck's sake, and it was maybe the best part of like 4 hours trying to figure this out, and in the end, it was nothing.
I will say, God damn it!
And I was like, yes,
I have heard
I
have heard that the combat's quite difficult though. Like,
it's difficult.
Speaking, like you need to always make sure you're surprising enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you can get the jump on as many people as possible, it's best. What's difficult is at least for me at the moment. I'm sure there's a way of figuring out, and I'm just not getting it just yet. It's figuring out how much of your like stamina you can use before you can't use your attacks anymore. Because if you go too far, then you don't have enough stamina left to do attacks anymore. Okay. So you can walk right up to a guy in his face, and it's like, you've got no more ability to use your sword, bruv.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's just shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
that's something you do have to. So on the tabletop,
and there's a dash ability as well that you can go even further. And I'm like, okay, but then you definitely can't have any use anything. So I'm like,
so on the tabletop, you're given X amount of in your turn. You can do an action, a reaction, a movement.
Yeah.
It makes sense that they've done it this way because it wouldn't make sense to have those as actions in the game. It would be disruptive. But like you could use an action to move, so you can use your movement and then use an action to move further, but then you can't attack. So dashing, for example, is usually a really good idea for getting away from stuff or for specifically getting into range to attack people. So like if you were a barbarian or a fighter and someone was really far away and you had range people in your party, you would dash even though you can't attack them until the next turn, but you need to be there. You don't want to waste 2 turns.
Yeah.
But yeah, you definitely need to manage that stuff. You need to just get a feel for it.
It's also I need to like understand what the limit is as well, because some enemies are dashing and they're attacking me, and I'm like, I swear I can't do that. But there must be like a certain limit of meters. Perhaps, who knows? And that's the thing that I'm trying to figure out.
In the game, it's 30 feet. In the tabletop, it's 30 feet. You can move for free, basically.
I think something like 11 meters in the thing.
That sounds like 30 feet.
Yeah. But I'm just like, okay, I'll use half of my dash, and it still says I can't use. I'm like, so what's the deal then? What is the number that I need to hit? And
that'll be a YouTube tutorial one.
Yeah, because it wasn't a tutorial on the thing. Like it gave you the ideas. It's like, you can dash to reach further. It doesn't say exactly how much.
I will say as well, it might not be intuitive. Like Rob, friend of the show, who he actually GM'd my Cyberpunk tabletop game.
Nice.
He's like really au fait with he knows all about this stuff, and he was saying like it doesn't actually play like D&D. Like for example, the movement, like that isn't how it works on the tabletop, and it's not super clear how it works.
Okay.
So
yeah, I thought it was.
Not you.
I thought it wasn't, but I'm sure there's, like I said, a YouTube tutorial out there that will teach me something like that. Bro,
that's right. Yes,
this was a great chat, and I do fucking love my.
But this isn't D&D cast.
This isn't D&D cast, although we can make it if you like. We can just
let's do it.
All right, True Gaming Podcast is done, guys. We're going to D&D cast, the official podcast of Baldur's Gate and all D&D.
Get a bit of D&D in you.
we've anointed ourselves the official.
That's it. We are officially the D&D guys.
But bro.
Yes.
This podcast is brought to you by our amazing patrons over at patreon.com/Conbrosations, who support us at the Super Bro tier, those legends who make everything possible, like keeping these lights and these mics on right here. Those great people are my juicy left nut, Sabine from Smallville, and Gams Master, the leader of the Empire, the fearless one, the great Lord Vader himself, step cousin, who isn't really that important, but he likes to show up to parties and he hands out cups and stuff like that.
He's on the reply all from a previous email, and no one's figured out how to get the email chain to not include him.
One time we put him in his own text chain and then muted it, but then he found out and it was like, oh, super embarrassing. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something, but I forgot now. Anyway, today we're gonna be talking about a few things.
Yeah.
Mainly, we're going to start off with the Cyberpunk Night City Wire and State of Play that was done. Which way round do you want to talk about it? Because both happened basically the same day. So,
I'm more excited about Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So let's do Cyberpunk.
Should we talk about that first?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Cyberpunk then. So Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty is coming up. Little bit of information for you guys. We are going to a Phantom Liberty launch party
we're kind
in
of a
London.
big deal.
We're kind of a big deal here, you know? Just
I really don't have very much space.
all we had to do was say, yo, CDPR, what are you saying? They were like, yes, no problem.
That's exactly how it went.
Not really.
No,
I was
not
just
at all.
super excited. And then I forgot that there are CDPR people that follow me and they were like, hey, do you want to go? I was like, hey, that'd be really awesome.
Daddy.
So I am planning to cosplay for the event.
Yeah, we've got a week and I don't have enough time to...
Don't get me wrong, it's tight.
I'm probably just going to wear my Conbrosations 2077
That'd be
t-shirt and just see if anyone notices.
People are just like, oh yeah, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. Nice t-shirt. Yeah, thanks. It's mine.
You can hold the game case
mine.
as well, and they'll be like, "Yeah, that's just V." I think I'm just gonna. I'm gonna cosplay.
I should do that.
And I'm making something quite special for it. I don't want to say anything more in case it fucks up.
Yeah.
But I'm taking my hand at going to hardcore.
Cyberpunk Kratos.
No, it's not actually. It's nothing God of War related. It's just
You
gonna be
should
Cyberpunk.
definitely do that.
It would be fucking great, wouldn't it?
Instead of the, his birthmark, make it like outlines.
Oh shit.
Do you know what I
Make
mean?
them like angled and then like a thing like that.
Yeah,
That would be quite cool, actually.
Yeah.
See, but the problem is you're going way too creative
And
beyond
then
my
instead
abilities.
of a mantis blade, it's like you do that and the whole axe comes out.
I'll somehow tie it
A
to my
Leviathan
forearm,
axe just...
and I'll just do lateral raises the whole night with a fucking axe.
Yeah. That's the way.
You're going far too beyond my abilities. That's what you're doing right there. I'm doing something that's fairly creative, but I won't say anything until it's actually done. But that's going to be happening on the 23rd.
Yeah.
And the Phantom Liberty DLC drops on the 26th. But they also announced at this event that the Cyberpunk 2.0 update, with all of the overhauled systems, with brand new skill trees, with brand new ways of playing, actually what sounds like pretty decent like spec trees for like certain players if you want to be more of like a hacker. They've completely buffed the hacker abilities to make it proper cool Netrunner style. That is going to be launching on the 20th of September, which is freaking awesome. It gives you like 5 or 6 days to
play through the game and then be ready for the...
Exactly. I wish it was a few more days earlier.
Yeah, me too, because I haven't even played freaking Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Also, are you going to play it on the PC or are you going to play it on...
This is the big question. So...
Because apparently it's still, obviously, but it still works best on PC.
Yeah.
Not that it doesn't work bad on PS5. And I had a good time on my PS5.
And the PC's quite a beast, so it'll probably be like really beautiful as well. Yeah. My big issue is that when I first played it, I wanted to do it to obviously get the Platinum Trophy. And now that it's going to be working, and hopefully, I kind of want to get the Platinum Trophy again.
Fair enough. Nothing wrong with that.
If I can have to play it and then play it again. Oh, maybe... I don't know. Maybe I'll play the base game on PlayStation so I can get the Platinum Trophy, and then I'll play Phantom Liberty on PC to...
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, they showed us so much cool stuff. Number one of which, the Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty cinematic trailer with Idris Elba on a train being double crossed by this woman they speaking with on the phone. Yeah. And
Sune, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right. And completely swarmed by like some bears with guns. Yeah, first it starts off with just like normal dudes, and then afterwards you see guys with like Arasaka armor coming out. And
those guys sort of look like edge runners, wouldn't you agree? Because you've watched the show, you know what we're talking about.
Agree with you, man. I agree with you.
I'm serious. There's only 10 episodes. We're going to a place where probably the main reason that they still have funding and the team is alive to do the update is because Edgerunners just launched it, basically relaunched the entire game. And if you go and you're going to be like, oh, it's a cool cosplay. Who's that? And everybody's just like,
are you kidding me, bro? Listen, I think I was the one that funded everything with the purchase of the chair, with the purchase of the collector's edition, those posters that I bought. Yeah. I think I was the one. So don't put too much emphasis on Edge Runners, okay?
Fair enough. That's a good point.
This cinematic trailer. Yeah. What did you think of it? What was your immediate reaction? Because I was blown away that
the mocap type stuff is so good.
You know, Idris Elba's mannerisms and like the way he moves, like just his eyebrow or something like that, perfectly captured in this performance capture.
Yeah.
When I finished it, I tweeted at as many developers, like cinematic developers, animators, the community managers, tell them like, you guys need to make an animated movie with this CG. Because it's fucking phenomenal. You lit it beautifully, directed it, shot it perfectly.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Do it.
I would love to see like a Blade Runner type, but Cyberpunk movie.
Right.
Of, you know, in that CG.
It looked phenomenal.
It was genuinely incredible. And you should also watch Edge Runners.
Well, sorry, this is the first time you're mentioning it. What? I was blown away by
it. This is a personal thing. My big issue was he's not doing an English accent. I just think it's silly to, like,
the American accent
is a lot better than it used to be, but it's obviously not.
I don't know why it couldn't have been an English accent.
Also, because England still exists in this version of the world.
Is what's his name? Solomon Reed, a character in the lore for thing?
No idea.
I have no idea either.
I haven't heard of him, and I've heard, let me put it to you this way: it's not like a Morgan Blackhand or a Johnny Silverhand or anything like that, or a frickin' who's the big Terminator motherfucker?
Adam Smasher.
Adam Smasher. Yeah, it's not like that. And I've also only played the one.
Okay,
but it doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, it looks like he isn't.
Yeah, I would assume he's just like for the game, sort of like V.
It could have been English, didn't it?
But like the thing is, it doesn't. First of all, they're talking about going back to the homeland, which why could that not be England or New England or New Britain or whatever the frick it's called? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it still exists. I just think that would have been a little bit better. And look, we know space travel is a thing in this world. Travel is still a thing in this world. Like, there's no reason that he couldn't have come that far for a thing. So that sort of annoys me, but that always annoys me. I think it makes sense for people just speaking their normal accents, and then if it really is jarring, like the character, you add in a throwaway line, like Sansa Stark being Jean Grey, doing that terrible American accent. They should have just been like, "Oh, hey, Sansa." No, Sansa's, "Hey, Jean, how's the move from London?" "Oh, yeah, good, thanks." Cool. Jean Grey's British now, and we can have a decent enough actress use her normal voice and act properly. Do you know what I mean? I think that's better than trying to force, like, shoehorn in a bad accent. Yeah. It just for me, it breaks immersion. However, story looks very interesting from what we gained. That mocap, amazing, incredible. And I'm really keen to sort of see about the character, because I was a bit worried they were going to do like what they did with him in Fast and Furious. They're like, "I'm Black Superman."
Oh yeah, they just fill him with cybernetics.
Yeah, and he's just unbeatable guy.
Well, who knows, innit? Because I mean, I think
it starts with him obviously getting fricked.
Yeah.
Over, so,
and I think I noticed one thing. I mean, it's pretty much kind of what happened to like Adam Smasher, innit? Like he just kept getting like murked, and then they rebuild as much as they can with like cybernetics and stuff like that. It happens again and again, but in the shot on the train, it didn't look like he was very like hardware.
He bled
filled.
a lot. Like, exactly. He took a lot of like flesh wounds.
And then I think
wounds to flesh. I mean,
I think in other gameplay trailers, sort of the Phantom Liberty stuff and whatnot, I see he has a bit more cyberware on his neck, and I'm like, ooh, maybe he's been filled a bit more.
Also, there are different. This is a really interesting world in terms of like Adam Smasher.
He's another relic.
Adam Smasher is referred to as a Borg.
Yeah,
the sort of same thing out of Star Trek, right? These guys that are like, they call it going full Borg, right? But not all Borg look like Adam Smasher. A lot of them do. They end up being like humanoid tanks. But Takamura in the game, he's almost a Borg. Like he's mostly cybernetic, you know. And a lot of those models, like, you know, in the on the posters and that one that's missing a jaw, she's mostly Borg. Yeah. Right? There's that one chick who's completely gold.
Yes.
That's a Borg, even though she's not like Borged out. So, you know, tough to tell.
Yeah.
And also I find that's quite interesting. You fight that one ninja dude in the game, who's Takamura's friend. It's one of the tougher boss fights. But you know the fight I mean? That guy's a Borg. So having dudes that look human until they Neo off their jacket and you realise, oh shoot,
what the fuck?
It's a T800. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. So yeah, that's one of those interesting things. I think the most interesting thing will be how the new talent trees work, what the new systems are, because that's going to be the thing that affects how you play, how you interact with the DLC.
It seems like it's going to be amazing. Obviously, we don't know. I think very soon we're going to get impressions dropped from certain content creators. Yeah. I saw one of them who's like a very known Cyberpunk content creator who's already played 90 hours of the new thing. So I'm imagining a very nice, well broken down video on that. And everything seems really, really vamped. So just the Netrunner thing, for example. I remember wanting to do Netrunner stuff and be like, oh, cool, hack this, hack that and whatnot. But then in practice, it was like, you have a certain number of like memory slots and it's like 6 or 7 or something like that.
It's not
and
good.
Then it runs out straight away. And you get to do one thing where you like make one person explode. It was like, that's really shitty.
If you max out the net running, you can do more than that, and you can do like viruses and stuff like that. But it's not fun.
Yeah.
Like what happens is, and you can find footage of it, at least of the old builds. You stealth somewhere where you can see everybody, or you hack a camera, and then you look at a few people, a loading bar happens, you select an option, that guy goes blind. You look at another guy, you select an option, a loading bar happens, and then him and 3 guys start taking like weird damage, like dot damage.
Yeah.
And then you look at another guy who's standing next to another guy, and you hack one of them, and then he starts attacking the other guy, and like, you don't do anything, you're just clicking a few buttons.
Yeah.
Whereas, which I appreciate is all gaming is, but if you are running like a stealth build or a pistol or a shotgun build, you're going to run in, you throw a grenade, you start like shooting people against combat, and that's just more engaging. And or running a stealth build where you go in and you take people down, like you throw a thing over there and one guy walks off, and it just, the net running isn't enjoyable.
In the video, it did look like it was a lot more enjoyable. It looks like you had a lot more options. It had a lot more different variety of things to do, and it looked like you had a lot more like of that RAM, that memory sort of for you to play with. So if you were a net runner, you don't just take out the first 5 people and then that's it, and then you have to shoot your way. It's like you can actually go through a whole facility with everything. As well as that, they're part of the story, not to give too much away, but the part of the story is that they're going to unlock the relic chip that you've got in your head to also add on top of your abilities. So everything that you had, like, for example, you had a dash ability.
Yeah.
There's also where you can chain abilities, so you can dash forward, dash to the side to maybe dodge, and then you can zoom straight forward with your mantis blades and slice people apart. There's supercharged gorilla arms, which make you even more stronger, and you just like throw people across the fucking world. It seems really fucking cool.
One of the things that I'm hoping, so like they did this, I was talking to a friend of mine about Mass Effect 3. And Mass Effect 3, when it came out, there were like 3 endings and none of them were particularly very good. At least I played one, was super disappointed, never played it again. I've played Mass Effect 2 like 7 times, and I just played Mass Effect 1 and stopped. They since have come back, rewritten a few of those canon endings, and then added a few, I think 2 additional endings.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of hope they do that with this. Like, I hope this comes out, or the Cyberpunk, the big update comes out, and they go, yeah, by the way, there's a few additional endings, and we're changing a few things, because that, for me, that's probably my biggest negative about Cyberpunk, the original game, is that you can do all this stuff in game, but at the end you have 2 options, and functionally, right? And that's it, and it makes the whole thing feel ultimately like it was on rails, And it just doesn't feel. I don't feel like I have a much of a say in what happens, or how we get there. And I would like them to add a few additional ending options.
I was actually okay with it, I like the idea that it was, the story is like, you've got yourself into a big mess, and this isn't a mess that you can come back from. It's all about how you go out. And is it that you choose to give over your body to Johnny, or do you decide to keep it for as long as possible, but end of the day you're still going out? And the glory along the way was the thing. But don't get me wrong, that's just my feeling on it, and everyone's feelings are different.
for the record,
you have poor taste.
Trash taste. I mean,
Cyberpunk
I've been
Edge
hanging out
Runners,
with you
for
for like
example.
15 years. Get fricked. Like, I dig that. Like, one of the things about Night City is, like, there's no happy endings. Like, if you want to be somebody, there is no happy ending for this, right? There are 3 options. You become like a gangster type, at which point you're a gangster. You're getting taken out by the corpse or another gangster. You join a corp, you're going to get taken out by another corp or a gangster. Or you don't do either of those things and you get taken out by a corpo or a gangster. Where you're living in IC, you're getting taken out by somebody.
You're just walking down the road, you fucked up.
So...
or a cyber psycho.
Right, exactly. So I feel you. I just didn't find those two effective endings to be... I don't know, man. It just something about it felt a bit hollow. And I feel like they could add a bit more to it.
I can get the idea that, like, no choice essentially means...
And also, I'll tell you, so one of the things as well was, like, so The Witcher only has 3 endings. The Witcher 3 has 3 endings, right? A good, bad, and medium, basically, right? But when the game rolls credits, you have, like, effectively a cartoonized version of what happens because of the decisions you made in the game, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, Dijkstra goes on to be thing or gets caught by so-and-so, and Redania loses its rights and becomes part of Nilfgaard and stuff like that. And we didn't get that. We just see that, like, V either lives or functionally dies, and that's that. And then you can pick up where you left off. I would like it to be like, oh, you sided with Meredith, what's her chops? She goes on to be this thing, and that allows in the future DLC an interaction that you wouldn't have got, right? That's one of the things that bugs me. I'm okay with, like, endings where, like, look, it's going 1 of 3 ways. That's what happens in The Witcher. It's going 1 of 3 ways.
Yeah.
But all the decisions you make in the game, it sort of feels like, okay, well, I sided with Meredith in this thing, or I sided with there's that not cyber psycho. He's like a cyber policeman in the animals give you a, you know, the guy, the animals give you a thing. I went Netwatch, the Netwatch officer, and I killed him the first time. I'm like, frick these cops. Okay. But the animals are dickheads as well. And at the end of the game, it doesn't matter what you do, because all that matters is there's these 2 options. And I would have liked it to be like, oh, V sided with the Netwatch agent. He was promoted and is now head of, like, Militech security. Now that V's alive, and whatever happens, like, in the DLC, if you need a favor from Militech, you know the Netwatch guy who owes you one.
I see. Do
you know what I mean?
That's a fair point.
And it feels like the world's hollow because none of your decisions had any impact. And so that's... Sorry, I know I took like 10 minutes to say that, but like that's my piece for these sorts of games.
No, I feel you on that.
So yeah, that's my bit.
A couple of extra things in the 2.0 update, as well as the skill tree and perks being redesigned, the cyberware that I mentioned as well being all revamped and stuff like that. Vehicle combat has been added into the game, so it's not just in that one mission that we had. So that's going to be cool. I saw a clip of a really cool chase scene going down, as well as that character V being a net runner, so hacking the cars as they go as well, causing chaos, and it looked absolutely fantastic. Combat has been improved in the AI, so that's going to be hopefully more interesting. There was some instances in the open world where you'd shoot someone and they would go berserk in a way that isn't natural, didn't seem right. And
the cops don't make any sense.
Very strange.
Didn't make any sense. They've upgraded that, haven't
Which
they?
leads to the next part. New police system entirely. You've got like a star system, and when you get right to the end, you got Max Tac coming in to try and take you out.
That's kind of cool.
And the Max Tac guys look so fucking cool.
Max Tac are cool.
They drop down in like the coolest way possible. They just like drop down with the like slow rise up, and then one guy is just a fucking tank. Another guy acts like those cyber psychos with the blade and whatnot, bouncing around everywhere. Imagine taking on 4 superhuman, well-trained tactical officers. It's going to be fucking great. I can't wait for it. As well as car combat, maybe I didn't mention this before, there's cars that have like weapons in them now and stuff like that. So you can shoot from a bit like a James Bond car, basically.
You can do your oil slick or your rockets out the front.
Exactly. looting items and crafting changes all across the board, and new radio stations. They've got a bunch of new people to do like new music, which is quite cool. In the Phantom Liberty expansion, I'll go through some of the stuff they got there. A brand new area called Dogtown, a whole new district on the side of Night City. Brand new storyline with new characters, new quests, gigs, and boss fights. One thing that was really cool with the new gigs and stuff that they're adding random events to the city.
Yeah.
So sometimes there'll be something that's dropped off, and it's not for you, it's for someone else, which is just as dangerous as it being for police, for a gang, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So everybody converges on it, and then you have to try and kill everyone in order to take the loot and whatnot.
That was one of our
very cool idea.
One of our big things about Cyberpunk was that the world, other than my thing of like the decisions don't really feel like they have an impact, the world also is somewhat empty, meaning that like the city doesn't feel lived in.
Yeah, it had cars going around, it had some people going around,
but
they weren't doing anything.
Yeah, nothing's going on.
All the stands, you couldn't interact with any of them.
Right. And like I get that that's a lot to ask for, I get that, but having events like this, that makes sense. Having, you know, a cop system like GTA, that makes sense, or a wanted system, I guess you'd call it. The vehicle combat would make sense. And then as well, having those systems in place, I think allows you to add like extra missions or something. Like, I don't think it would be too much to say like, oh, hey, everybody's enjoying the car combat. We're going to do like, it's like a free mini mission DLC. It was like the Aldecaldos or whatever are running from another band, and they go through Night City, and you can choose to join or not, and who do you side with and stuff like that, right? Like that then plays into the fact that there are street kids and corpos, and what was the other one? Nomads, right? Like it sort of makes sense. Whereas like the nomads are just sort of, oh, we drive in cars and we have this caravan and we're outside, and then but you have to go into Night City.
I think there is going to be a nomad specific mission just based on what I saw from in the trailer. There was one where he did something, he grabbed a car and the car's kitted out with like weapons and whatnot, being chased and blowing up people, ranking up like a huge police wanted level, and then you saw a shot of them outside the city on the road. There's a roadblock and he had to like power his way through, and then after that it's like sand and stuff like that. So I can imagine that being like a nomad mission. I mean, and then you go
another thing that would make sense to me is like, let's say you pick nomad as your backstory, then maybe you just get a buff to the driving. Like maybe if cars have like a 10 difficulty to drive, just like all cars, the best one that handles is a 10, right? But because you're a nomad, you have like a -3 to that, so it's a 7. It's not that hard to drive. Even like do you know what I mean? Like, or how easy it is to recover from a drift or a spin, you know, stuff that you can work out as a dev. If you're a nomad, you've grown up driving all the time. It makes sense you'd be better at doing that. And it would also make sense if you're a corpo that you're a bit better at talking to people, just as like a base stat level. You know, we're talking about your Baldur's Gate thing, like just a few of those things where maybe not a lot, but in a few subtle ways it makes sense. Like if you're a street kid, you're just going to have a better way of you get better prices at merchants from like street kid type stuff, you know. And if you're a nomad and a corpo, you get standard prices, and if you're a corpo, you get better prices at like more official Ripper Docs, and just little things. Just like, oh yeah, that's right, you have a life and a history. It would make sense that this corpo Ripper Doc who knew you will give you a discount because he's done a lot of work with Arasaka guys, and he still thinks you work at Arasaka, right?
That stuff would be great.
Yeah, just ways to make it feel alive.
Yeah,
that's all.
The new relic skill tree that I mentioned as well, that's specific to the expansion. 100+ new items in terms of weapons, cyberwares, cars, and fashion. Vehicle missile launchers, which I described earlier, and it looks fucking great. And increased level cap up to 60. It looks fucking fantastic. I cannot wait for it. Can you check your emails for me just for a second?
My emails?
Yeah, bro, just a quick second, if you don't mind.
Emails? Which email?
The 700 one.
Yeah.
Check on that for me. See what that says right there.
Yeah. This is the problem being YouTube, or being guys on the internet. I've got like 7 or 8 emails, and at least 4 or 5 of them I've completely forgotten the like the info. Go away, bruv. Hold on one second here. What am I looking for?
Is there anything sort of CDPR related in
there? I don't know. I'll find out once freaking thing opens. Why are we doing this live?
Yeah, don't worry about it. We shouldn't do this live. Anyway, so that's the update. It looks fantastic. I'm super excited. Can I ask a question though?
Yeah.
Are you at all worried that it's the same thing that's happening again back in 2020, where we was all super excited leading up to it, and then it's just going to be like, oh, maybe it's going to be buggy again because they've had to do so much more stuff and it's relaunching a brand new game essentially, or maybe they've overhyped it or whatever it is. Is there any of that feeling inside you? Because Giuseppe wrote in and he said that he is kind of worried that it's just going to be the same thing again.
Less so.
Yeah.
And the only reason for that, and I'm not saying that they are going to do a good job, right? I'm not saying that. But they have seen it. They're in the best position to get this right this time. Not from a talent perspective or any of that, but they, I would argue, phoned it in at the beginning when the game came out. Or for whatever reason it came out and just wasn't right. And they paid for that. They really paid for that. And it looked like they were never going to recover. And they got a second chance at life with Edge Runners. And people coming back to the game after they'd done some work and it did work. And I do think that if ever there was going to be a turnaround, they'll have gone, right, if we're going to do this thing, it can't go the way the launch went.
Yeah.
Because they can't survive another one of those. They can't survive this coming out and like the update doesn't work, the DLC comes out and it's trash and it's like 10 minutes long. Like that's going to... I don't care how good Edge Runners is. If 2 out of 3 attempts, to like launch, fail after almost a decade, or over a decade at this point, like it's no good. So I think they'll have gone really heavy on it. And there was no desperate push to get this DLC out either. Like they initially said they weren't going to do anything for it, didn't they?
They did. They dropped everything. They were like, "We're redoing the game. We're concentrating on that."
So like,
which is commendable,
right? So the fact that the DLC is coming suggests to me that they expect that it's going to be ready. And I will also say, and I gave this to Starfield, I gave it to Baldur's Gate. Ever since the OG days of Call of Duty, give it the first week, there will be bugs that got missed out in QA. That when the DLC goes live, that there are some servers they're not expecting the inflow, all that stuff. Give it a week. I'm happy to do that. Willing to do that. Or let me rephrase that. I'm willing to sort of write off any bad experiences in the first week because, server loads are unexpected, or there are bugs that when there's 10 million people playing, they find something that your 5 QAs didn't.
Yeah,
like
that's
I'm
always
okay.
the case.
I'm happy to like forgive those things if, in week 2, starting with week 2, it's all ready and fixed and works fine, then fine. But if it is just another hollow edition, put it this way, no other company is as well positioned to realize how bad it will be to get this wrong. As an example, Starfield did an MW3. So back in the day when we were playing Call of Duty, we played MW2, had a terrible mic system because it was in like 2009 or something. Black Ops came out, had a really good mic system. When MW3 dropped the next year, it used the same system that MW2 did, because as far as they were concerned, it's their next game. But it wasn't the next Call of Duty. Black Ops had come out with a bunch of really good upgrades, and they had failed in that way. Starfield has come out as the next Bethesda game. And had this game come out in 2013, it would probably be acceptable.
A lot of people have been saying, especially in the
maybe
reviews,
2013, like 2016, 2017.
in the reviews, people are like, people who really loved Fallout 3 and didn't move on from Fallout 3 are probably really loving Starfield.
Yeah.
However, anyone else who's played every other games, they're like, know that.
Yeah. For the record, I don't have anything that looks cyberpunky at the minute anyway.
Yeah, not someone someone beginning with A?
I definitely have some... no, I don't think so.
Okay.
No. I definitely have some scam stuff in here, like a bunch of viruses and stuff. That's definitely a fact.
Click on it, just check.
Let me just check. I'll download everything as well. The Starfield, they just made the next one in the line, but it's been 10 years or something since Skyrim. and Fallout 76, and it's like, okay, it's better than the last one you made, but like since that last game came out, there's been God of War, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima,
many games,
and then you have Baldur's Gate that comes out from relatively speaking a niche shop.
Let's talk about that in a second, because we're going to talk a little bit about stuff.
Sorry,
but your feeling is you're not as worried about Cyberpunk this time.
No, I'm generally excited.
Okay,
which is weird because I genuinely thought I'm done with CDPR, and then Edgerunners, as you well aware, big fan, that came out, that gave everybody the faith back.
Blew my socks off.
Then everybody influxed back to the game and realized it's fixed and it works now. And there wasn't that like disheartening factor to it, and we kind of somehow managed to all forgive them. So fingers crossed they're back on track.
Here's the thing, like I remember the feeling very vividly because it hurt me quite bad. Leading up to Cyberpunk 2077's launch, it was all hype and excitement. However, there were telltale signs, but we chose to ignore it because it was CDPR.
Yeah,
it was like CDPR. Come on, it's cyber. It's CD Projekt Red. They made The Witcher. They give free shit to us. They thank us for buying their games. It's those guys. They wouldn't screw us, right? They wouldn't screw us. And then we got screwed royally. I don't have the same feelings now. There's not been... I've been very... I guess because we've been burnt, we're more tuned to those red flags. And we're less likely to forgive them. I haven't seen any red flags. And
not in the last year either. Like, exactly. It's always improving.
Especially because now they're launching the upgrade, the free upgrade for everyone who purchased the game before the DLC comes out. That's a green flag, if anything.
Yeah,
to show
the game has been developed to run on the new system, which we think is a big upgrade.
Exactly.
Which it better be an upgrade. If that... Imagine it comes out and it just doesn't work and everybody hates it.
Well, that's the thing. That's the possibility, right? That it comes out because it's a brand new relaunch of the game, and they've done the same thing that they did with the previous one, where they tuned the heck out of it for the highest spec PC in the world, and it just doesn't run on consoles.
Oh, God, imagine the update comes out and it's just stability problems. It's like...
See, that's what I'm hoping it's not. But the fact that it's coming out before the DLC means that they're not trying to do the old switcheroo where they take your money and then get the, what was it, 15 million copies sold on day one of Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
And it was like, but it's shit. Consoles are suffering.
There's like 13 million refunds. It was ridiculous.
There was refunds and whatever, but they made a ton of money and whatnot. This time they're giving you the DLC, so the update. And at least you'll be able to go, this is rock solid.
Yeah, the game works.
They have really fucking made it work. And there's improvements that makes me want to go buy the DLC.
And on that point, the game as it stands now, what were we, like a week and a half away from the update?
Yeah, a week away from
the update. The game now works. Like, it works well.
It's true.
It plays well. It has no stability issues, relatively speaking. Like, obviously it's meant for PC, but like it runs fine on PS5s, and I forget old gen, right? Runs fine on current gen. It works. They previously had made tons of upgrades anyway to the system, so for them to overhaul that system, you would expect that it freaking works, and I think it's a massive improvement because the game works as it was supposed to have done when it came out. So to change that, like, they know what happens if they get this wrong, so I would suspect there's a massive upgrade, and like you say, it's coming out for free. And that's the right marketing. Here's this free upgrade. We've made this huge overhaul. The game's great. People play it. Oh my God, what a great game. Oh, and there's a DLC coming out now. Like, we're 2 years away from the...
That's a great way to do it. Show your dedication and then ask for money.
And they go, look, by the way, if you
return for something.
If you want, there's a DLC. We think it's great. Check out this amazing mocap CG trailer. Like, you know...
Which I know
this
that
would probably be fun to play.
In previous thing, I'm like, oh, CG trailer, don't get excited. But this was like...
It was a CG movie.
As I say, we're not saying the game is going to be fantastic because of this. I'm just like, this theme, these looks, this style is just ace.
Yeah.
And if they can put that in the game along with a good game, perfect.
Perfect. Right there. Agreed.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
February 26th for Phantom Liberty DLC, and the 21st.
Just
I said 20th before, but 21st for the free update.
Yeah, buddy. Just to answer Giuseppe's sort of somewhat question, because he said, you know, he's not feeling too great about it. Although I'm saying that I'm excited, I'd put that at like a 7 out of 10 for excitement. I'm not like excited in the way that I was waiting for Baldur's Gate 3. I'm not excited in the way that I'm waiting for, or was waiting for, God of War. But yeah, I'd be keen to play this. I think it'd be good fun. That's where I'm at. I'm not like, oh my god, Cyberpunk update, oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread. You know, I'm like, yeah, that'll be good fun. I'll get it. It should be good. You know, just to make things clear, I'm not like a 10 out of 10 best thing ever.
I'm unfortunate in that way that I get excited for a lot of things quite easily, especially if there needs to just be a glimpse of something cool, and I'll be like, ooh, and then I latch onto it. Like, how many games have I enjoyed, but I don't build any sort of like cosplays for them. No. For this, I was like, yes, we're doing it, lads. We're doing it. I'm venturing into things that I've never done before. I even got my girlfriend does her nails herself, right? Yeah. And she's got one of these pink Dremels. Yeah. And I'm using that to shave down foam and shit like that. And I'm like, never would have done it previously, but here we are.
And also, like, you do get excited. I think Anthem's probably my perfect example of a game you were super keen for, and were giving it like it's more than a fair shake.
Yeah.
And but also you're fair. Like if it's not good, it's not good, but it gets a fair. You know, you put a lot of risky time in that, because that was bricking some consoles as well. Like, it was a dangerous play.
Screwed myself.
Yeah.
People were saying as well, like, when I said thanks to like Cyberpunk for giving us the tickets to this party, some people
paid actors
out of just jokes,
shills.
Out of just jokes, they were like, quickly delete every critical thing you've ever said about it. I was like,
no, I refuse.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, because I was critical, but I wasn't shitting on the game. I wasn't saying this is dog shit, don't buy it anymore. I was like, look, there were some real problems here.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they realized that, and that's why they went back to the drawing board. So it's not like I'm saying random stuff.
I also feel like, I don't remember, to be upfront, but I don't think we were ever like, CDPR stealing your money. We were like, this never should have happened. They shouldn't have done that. Because the big thing as well was that they were like, delay 3 months, delay 2 months, delay 1 month, delay another 3 months. They should have just said, look, we're not ready. And that, I think, was our thing. Was like, they reasonably knew it wasn't ready, but they'd got to a point where they'd ended up, they just couldn't extend it any further.
The only issue that I will fully blame them, and we said this from the very beginning when we even heard about Cyberpunk, it was like, this is going to be pretty ambitious. Why the hell are you releasing this on previous gen consoles?
That was a huge mistake.
And they released it. I don't even know what the state is right now. I bet it still doesn't work.
That it works.
I bet it still doesn't work, and we've just sort of accepted that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, we've deleted old gen off our memory for CDPR.
And I was like, this never should have been a thing.
This DLC is not coming out for previous gen, is it?
Yeah, it's just for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and PC.
See, it's the series,
and the update as well. The update is only for next gen consoles as well. So
it sounds like they've left the old gen behind. Which, by the way, we're 3 years into the current gen. Like at that point, and the fact that also, for the record, I think it was a mistake to have it run on the Series S. I think that is just. I understand why you're doing it. To actually let me take it one further step back, Microsoft shouldn't have made the Series S.
No. It was
Series S is holding back the Microsoft side of the generation, if not the generation itself. That was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
CDPR should have gone, do you know what, this game isn't going to be fun on the S, so we shouldn't make it for it. But I understand why that had to happen. But it sounds like they've gone, it doesn't work on our gen. Yeah. And also, hopefully, enough people have gone, do you know what, this game isn't, even if it's running, it's just not fun to play at 12 FPS on my like PS4 that sounds like it's trying to like get into orbit, you know?
Yeah.
So I think we were relatively fair about this whole thing. I think. I don't remember. I'm going to choose to believe
it. Vit as well was saying similar things to what Giuseppe was saying, whereas like an issue with Cyberpunk is that there's a risk of deja vu situation. There's so much hype and marketing and amazing before initial release. Marketing before the initial release, and we know what happened upon release. Could this be the same issue? A bit hesitant to pre-order yet. Not going to get burnt again. I haven't pre-ordered anything as well just yet. I
actually agree. I think I'm genuinely going to wait for a day or two and see the nerds being like, "This is amazing," and I don't mean like I don't trust IGN, but like a few guys, let a few people play it and be like, "Oh my god, I'm loving it." Whereas I watched Dr. Disrespect, who I don't really watch very often.
I've seen clips of him.
Yeah, and I think he's great in clips. I don't vibe with his deal, which is fine. But I think the guy's cool. And he was playing it, and someone asked him, was like, "Yeah, I think it's a 7 out of 10. I enjoy these games, but it feels a bit empty, and the gun combat's okay, but this is a bit slow. The story's interesting, but yeah, it's about 7 out of 10, something like that." And I was like, okay, that's fair, but that's not what this is supposed to be, and I'm going to wait for that. If People come up and they go, yeah, it's just an extension or whatever. Whatever. But we don't need to know first day. We're not desperate to play it. Also, we don't have the time.
Yeah, that's the crucial thing.
Devil's advocate, I will say as well, because we were just hyping up the CG trailer. Very much could be that we bought in because we're big Idris Elba fans, have been since Pacific Rim.
The guy,
Luther as well, but like Pacific Rim was.
What if Idris Elba's at the event that we go to?
We've met a few people from these events.
Because we're big deals.
We are.
We've also seen ourselves in the mirror. Fuck it.
Of course. God damn it! Now I'm gonna have to. I have to get a cosplay going. I'm gonna go as Idris Elba. I'm gonna go as Idris Elba in full blackface. Idris, it's me. It's you. I'm you. It's you. Me.
It's me. You. Mirror everything he does. It's gonna be me there in full Adam Smasher, and then you, nothing.
Blackface. But so, what I was gonna say was, obviously, as much as I hate to admit it, you throw some interesting cyberpunk type stuff in. Like, we both really vibe with that look.
That aesthetic. Oh.
It's the best. You chuck Idris Elba in there. Like, I'm bought in. I am sold to some extent, at least on the trailer. Like, I'm not gonna be able to pick problems out of it because I'm a big fan. But the original Cyberpunk trailer, the one that came out years ago, of the chick with the mantis blades and stuff, that was an incredible trailer. And Vit's right. Like, what we got did not come anywhere close to that. Yeah. So, Devil's Advocate, you're not wrong. And we have always said this as well. A good trailer or a good CG trailer has no bearing on how good the game is. What I will say where this is somewhat different is they've already fucked up as hard as anyone has ever done in the gaming world.
It shook the gaming industry.
Come out the other side of it with a working game and realizing the issues. And this game didn't come out. The DLC wasn't announced 2 years ago for this date. They got the game working, then they worked on the DLC, and they said, "Hey, we're ready for this date," and it hasn't been pushed back as far as I'm aware.
No, I don't think so.
So, like, it seems to be on track.
Yeah.
And so those are better signs that serious lessons have been learned.
Yeah. And they haven't sold anything in between. They've announced other projects and stuff like that, but they've also every year they do like a public investor meeting and whatnot, and they properly lay out what the portion of developers working on each project, and it's super small for the stuff that's coming in the future, and it's like getting up Cyberpunk 2.0 update out, massive chunk. Phantom Liberty, massive chunk. And then it shows next year we project the update has obviously gone down to nothing. It's just going to be bugs and stuff like that. Phantom Liberty updates, little updates like that. Yeah. And then the next, is it Polaris, Witcher, something like that. It takes up a huge chunk. Yeah. So they're very communicative and very open about what's going on. So it feels
like lessons have been learned.
Yeah, it feels like lessons have been learned. They learned it in the harshest way possible. This will be the proof in the pudding to be like, did they do it?
That I'm genuinely, now that we're like out of it, it's like the post-nut clarity of the whole event. Yeah. I'm genuinely surprised that they made it. I'm also very surprised and, hate to say it, impressed that they put the effort into fixing it the way they did, because a similar game, Battlefront 2, that is not the way that happened. DICE just pulled the entire team. It went down to a skeleton team for like 9 months. By the time it was done, the game was great and working, but it was dead. It'd been out for a year, you know.
And what's worse, that is like a evidence to like a greedy company to be like, look, you just shut it down and you will survive. You'll just move on to the next thing. And it's like, the fact that they went in the opposite direction kind of speaks volumes for their like character over there.
Yeah, and I hate to say it because I was very ready to just be, oh yeah, we hate CDPR now. You know?
What a fall from grace that was.
I know, that was.
Because they were literally regarded as the best. They were like
all of that. We literally said CDPR can do no wrong.
They were like the quality level of Rockstar, but also way kinder, because Rockstar, they do dumb shit as well. Like they'll put in this like really shit, saying, like try to get as much money out of you as possible.
I remember us saying something like on one of the OG podcasts, saying like, "Oh, what if Cyberpunk's no good?" And I think I was like, "Well, I don't care." The second they gave me that thank you note in The Witcher 3, I was a CDPR man through and through. Yeah. Nothing they do can be wrong. They just need to treat me right. And then they did everything wrong, and we obviously immediately jumped ship and stabbed them in the back.
We threw a knife on the way out. We're like, we're like, but
so I do think it seems like stuff's better. I don't think we're going to get that shock and surprise, because We know how bad it can be. They know how bad it can be. We've seen what they've made it up to. They're bringing out a free update for everybody prior to this new game, which then seems to be based on having the new update. It seems like they're doing everything right. Yeah. Could be completely wrong. Who knows?
Who knows?
And worst case, if it is bad, we invade Poland.
I feel like there's something we can do.
There was that guy in Germany. He had some good ideas.
Some great ideas.
He invaded Germany, Poland, and that all worked out pretty good, I think.
It worked out great.
And that's what I remember from my history
Germany's
GCSE.
still around.
True.
So it couldn't have been that bad.
But obviously he didn't do everything right because Poland's still around. Wait. Who are we deciding are the bad guys in this? Oh, am I really trying to say CDPR are worse than German diplomat, man?
Let's move on swiftly. Bro.
Yes.
This is the True Gamer Podcast.
That's right.
Come into your eyes and ears every Sunday.
Yep.
It's only been nearly a year of doing it on
Sunday. Every one day, every now and then.
Every day that ends in day. At youtube.com/Conbrosations1 and on podcast services around the world. If you can go to any podcast services, type in True Gaming Podcast, you'll see us right there. And on YouTube as well, if you do that kind of thing, you'll see us too. If you see us on YouTube, if you can get that like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a little comment below talking about the things that we talk about, we'd really appreciate it, and we'd like to engage with you guys. And if you're on podcast services, rate us those 5 stars. It really helps us out over there. And our numbers on podcast services are quite decent, actually. So,
they're pretty good.
All you audio virgins over there. If you want to take your support that one step further, if you want to go the extra mile, you can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations and kick us a couple of bucks a month. And you can get things like this podcast early, the day it's recorded, sent to all of your podcast feeds, even Spotify, and have your name read out as a true gamer, just like Gamsmaster, Sheps is Crusty Right Nut, Sab2557, Gerald Tucker, Mikey T, Fishy, Cobra SS, Dagenham Dan, Adam Sunling, Max H, and Super Whale Ben. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and keeping the gaming going here at Conbrosations. But if you guys don't have a couple of bucks to kick our way, if you just don't want to do that, we totally understand. You just being here is cool, and we appreciate you. Yeah. And having you listen to us ramble on about D&D and shit like that is great
stuff. Ironically, the two games we speak most about are both OG tabletop games, so Cyberpunk and Baldur's Gate. How weird is that? You got to play a real D&D game with me.
I really want to.
There are some local guys, by the way.
I just feel bad for the people that have to put up with me.
No, it's great, and I know that once you got enough of an idea of how you were playing the game, you'd go full Chaos Monkey like me, and like I genuinely, it's not on purpose. It just happens in the moment where I'm just like, how can I try to break the world? I'm like, if I could, I would tear through reality and rip the planet apart. We're doing a local game. We're trying to get one arranged, and maybe every other week. Local to me. I'll let you know when we hear about it. Yeah, my chick's gonna play in it as well. So like,
do you remember the time that we did it for the Conbrosations server?
Yeah, we did a one shot.
Yeah, one shot. I mean, it probably could have gone on longer, but I don't have the ability to go on that. And other people also the same. But do you remember how I got into it? You gave me the character of like a dumb but strong guy and whatnot. And I went full into it.
You did.
When you came to talk to me, I did the whole like that. And people, I think you were surprised by me going straight into it. I was like, I'm going into it. I like this shit.
I was really happy that you did that. And also, you're an entertainer. Like, you're a natural entertainer. For those of you that don't know, I made a one shot, but we couldn't find a proper one that would actually work and would be fun. So I made one. I made a world. By the way, that world, that like universe works. So like, there was riddles and I explained the world. Like all of that has a purpose. There's a creation to the whole world and all that stuff. That could have gone on longer, by the way. Like had everybody been like, we're going to do this forever. I had like where it was going to go after that one shot. The basic idea was that you fought Shrek and Donkey.
Yeah, you said
you missed. So this one shot ended up going 2 sessions, and they were Donkey was the big bad, and had mind controlled Shrek, an ogre somewhere, and was in cahoots with. I want to say it was the mayor. There was a reason that the dig was where it was, and there was an archaeological dig in a place, and like the whole world had it worked. So like you were in a place called what was it called? Briarthorn or something like that, and like the reason that you were there was like that town was there was Briar's like a plant, had like a flammable oil that was being used as a fuel for the world. So that was how the economy ran. Like I had a whole world planned out for this one shot. And yeah, if you'd wanted to, we could have taken it all over. But you'd never built a character or anything, and that can be quite intimidating for people to just this big list of paper. So we got like 4 or 5 guys on the server that wanted to do this one shot. And rather than having everybody roll up characters, I rolled up a couple of characters that all had interactions with other people and gave you a sheet, and it was like, you are character name, you're this kind of thing, so you're a barbarian of I can't remember the race, but like you're a giant dude, and
I specifically had to be Chinese for some reason.
You had to do the racist accent, and you were going to be in a location because your character had been working there for a backstory reason. I think he was found as a baby and then raised and to be used as muscle by this guy who ran the tavern, who was in cahoots with the mayor, because underneath, which you missed, there was a secret set of tunnels.
Yeah, I did miss that.
Yeah, there was a secret set of tunnels. One of the characters, and in fairness, I knew that you'd need these skills, but the rogue could read, I forget the undercommon. So there were, under the town was a crossroads, and the rogue read something, and one way it said like work and rest, and the other way it said supplies and healing or something like that. And there were 2 potential boss fights either way, and there was like the whole thing worked. It was really cool, but you would get really into it.
I think I would,
and that's the way to,
especially with how Baldur's Gate sucked me in.
And that's the way to play it as well. It's like, and you don't have to do silly voices and stuff. The point is that you play the character in a given way.
I am not afraid of doing anything silly.
I'll make a samurai and do the full very dishonorable whole way. If that's how you want to play it, I'll do that. If I can get you to commit to the game, I'll do that all the way through. And then it'll turn out that he's actually like an actor, and he's just in Asian face the whole time.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, these things are really good fun. Tabletop games are surprisingly good fun, but like you say, they're a big commitment. And the problem is, if you're at home and you have a couple of spare hours, you can run upstairs, play Baldur's Gate or Apex, whatever.
That's the reason why this fits me so well.
But we're 45 minutes away, half an hour, 45 minutes away from each other, and then it's a 3-hour game, and then coming back. £12. For you, not for you though. If you're coming to me, also
probably in £12 in petrol. That thing drinks. The new car drinks, guys.
Oh no. You must have seen that coming though. Your brother's got one.
Yeah, the problem is that, do you know what it was? I filled up the first time, which by the way was scary.
I bet that's a big tank in there.
Well, it's a big tank, but what it was that was one thing that was scary. I opened it up and it said on the cap diesel. I was like, cool, open it up. Put it on the side, and on the side it says put diesel. And then I look in the hole and it's got a green tip inside, and I'm like, diesel. Like if this was D&D, that's a trick. That's a trap right there.
It's a mimic. The fuel tank's gonna jump out and bite you.
I don't trust you.
Maybe diesel's green in like America or Asia.
The only thing that I surmised it was like why make a black one and a green one? They just made one and they went, there we go. Right. And I was like 3 times I'm like diesel,
green,
diesel.
In fairness, that's one where I
did buy a diesel.
If you'd put petrol in, if you'd put diesel in it and it had blown up the engine, you could have been like, diesel, you can pay this. Also, I want a diesel one. If that thing drinks as a diesel, imagine what it's like as a petrol.
Anyway, I put in something like 600. I put in 120 quid, and it got me 600 miles. It said 600 miles on the dash, and I was like, it's a bit on the lower side, but whatever, it's what it is. A minute later, I looked, and it basically calibrated to like my driving style and whatnot, and it was like 450, and I was like, oh god.
First of all, luckily for you, it's a business expense. Second of all, maybe does it have like an eco mode?
It's always in eco mode. I was
going to say, put it in eco mode. You're aiming for that green light to come on. Yeah.
Anyway, what was I talking about? I'll come into you for D&D and how much.
Yeah.
But anyway, that would be
cool.
Maybe
we could run a game. You, me, your missus, Isla.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Spider-Man and stuff like that. Okay. Let's move on to our next topic, which is the state of play that happened also minutes after, hours actually after Cyberpunk Night City Wire. Going into it, didn't have much expectations. It was cool to see like announcements from PlayStation, but they did come out and they said it was going to be updates on previously announced things. It'll be third party and indie stuff. They didn't say anything else. It was like, so no one was overexcited. Anyone who was is totally your fault. There's no reason to be. And it was a state of play. And we've learned to put our expectations a bit lower for state of play, even though some of them have been fucking amazing and thrown us out of whack. I'm going to quickly run through some of the stuff, and we can stop on places that we like. They announced a game called Baby Steps, which actually is kind of funny. It's basically you control your feet, and you've got to walk along like a path.
I love these sorts of games. This way, like, you control every joint individually, sort of thing.
Essentially, but it's just your legs, right? So let's say you're going up a ramp that's like muddy. If you don't get on the rocks, then you slip all the way down and you can fall off the edge and stuff like that. It looked quite funny. It looked like quite a funny game. Roblox is coming to PlayStation 4 and PS5. So coming to PlayStation 4 and not PS5, apparently.
Okay, cool.
Roblox.
I always hear people refer to Roblox. I don't genuinely know anything about it.
I don't know what it is.
But people talk about. I think the thing is, I think it's like a game that like kids take really seriously, like Minecraft. And I know adults take Minecraft really seriously, but I think it's like the demographics mostly kids.
I think so, and people who want to play with kids. Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord is dropping on PSVR 2 in October 26th. I knew as soon as I saw that Car 56 was going to be all up out of his seat, and he did write in about it as well, so I'll read that a little bit later.
I was gonna, before we move on, PSVR 2, have you played any recently, or
I have played a bit recently. So Firewall Ultra dropped, and that's like a 4-man co-op military shooter type thing, which when I played it on PlayStation VR 1, it was fantastic, absolutely amazing, and it came with a light gun as well, so it was it was quite cool like that. I don't like it as much without the gun.
Oh yeah,
it's so much difficult.
Way more immersive.
Because immersive is one thing, but think about it. You say like you got a machine gun, for example, like a submachine gun, something like that. When you use it with one hand, it's totally inaccurate. It like goes all over the place. Then when you grab the second part with your other controller, it makes it a lot more accurate. But the problem is that because they're not connected, your hands are like drifting like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
do you not have the gun?
There's no gun attachment for it. Now, there is a company on Etsy called Cobra VR who make very, very well reviewed attachments for the thing. But it's an additional £75. And while I probably will buy it maybe in the future, it's like I don't feel like it's required for me to have this thing in order to play the game.
Do you know what you might want to do?
Go on.
Instead of spending £75 on this thing, spend £475 on a 3D printer and print your own one for free. Well, functionally
I'm
free.
listening.
You know, for like whatever the cost of, like £20 worth of a filament.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
It's free.
And then in my spare time, I can make like whistles and sell them on eBay or something like that. I don't know. Just
But what you could do is you could do like... What do people do with 3D printers?
Dragon dildos.
Not have sex with girls. You could be not having sex.
I'm already there. I've never had sex.
Well, this is weird. Here are some of the most common products that are currently made with 3D printers.
Tell me it's Whistle. Tell me it's Whistle.
Whistle's not even in here, bruvs.
Okay.
Although I think this might be like real products, like real 3D printers, not like your home benches, but it was like eyewear, footwear, designer furniture.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Making designer furniture in a desk thing. So yeah, I think
Hattie, who cosplayed as the clicker.
She's incredibly talented cosplayer. Yeah.
I asked her for help for my cosplay thing that I'm doing. Obviously, I've got to go to the best, right? And she was saying how she's doing something right now, and she's like, she's got a 3D printer because obviously a serious level cosplayer like her, she has a 3D printer at home and she does it. I was like, see, fucking,
I get it.
You're too good.
Harry is the sort of person that takes this stuff so seriously. It's not like,
sorry, I put a clock up there and for some reason it's really dull.
Okay, well we also have giant lights straight into our eyeballs. Harry's the sort of person that's like, oh yeah, you know, I sew and like make my own stuff, and I learned like prosthetics for the clicker thing, and then I taught myself 3D rendering so I could design these files so I can print out for this one thing. Yeah, she's that kind of person. Incredibly talented. And when I say talented, I don't mean like, oh, you know, like Usain Bolt, as an example, is like 6'6".
Yeah.
Was always going to be a fast guy no matter what, and then put in the work. This is a thing where I don't think there's like a natural. No one's like, oh yeah, you're a born seamstress.
Yeah.
You're a born prosthetics person. That is something you can only learn by being into it.
Yeah.
And she's into it and got really, really good at it. Yeah. And I respect the frick out of it.
She did a cosplay for MCM Comic Con where I went to go do that interview with Daniel Basutti.
It's crazy. I was actually there.
Was you there?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just mentioned just in case anyone forgot. Best friends now, you know. She cosplayed as Lucifer from Sandman.
Yeah.
And I had not seen it yet. I hadn't seen that show. And when she got there, she was dressed up. I was like, cool. And I saw her tweet saying she was going to dress up as Lucifer. I was like, cool. Played by that the tall lady from Game of Thrones. What's her name?
Gwendolyn. Yeah.
Her. And I didn't know about her, and I was like that. And then for some reason, me and my chick were like, "Do you ever watch this Sandman thing on Netflix?" I was like, "No, should we watch it? Let's go watch it." So we started watching it, and then immediately when I saw Lucifer and I saw her in the outfit she was wearing, I was like, hey, I just realized who you was cosplaying as. She was like, why didn't you say anything? You just said, like, nodded your head when you was there. And it was
I'm just looking at her thing because I haven't seen that cosplay. So sorry, talk amongst yourselves. Anyway. What's our next topic?
Resident Evil 4 is coming to PlayStation VR 2 winter 2023. The VR looks fantastic for Resident Evil games for some reason, like way better than most games. Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC is dropping next week alongside some free mercenary updates. Avatar Frontier of Pandora story trailer was shown off with some fresh gameplay. It looked alright. I'm not as enamored with Avatar as most people are.
Did you see the second movie?
No.
First movie, cool. Yeah, it was good. Second movie, saw it. Everybody that I know that saw it said it was really good. Not one of us can tell you what the frick happens in it.
Yeah, I don't hear about the stuff that happens in it. I hear people are like, it's got made a lot of money because it was like shown a bunch of times and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so when Endgame came out, we talked about Endgame. We didn't talk about how much money it made.
It's very incredible how enjoyable the movie was, and don't really know what happened in it. I mean, like, I could really think about it and tie it down, but my point is, it's super forgettable. It was a really enjoyable experience and very bright, and like people dig the world and stuff. But meh.
Okay.
Kind of meh.
Ghost Runners 2.
My point is no, like, oh, you're missing out. Like,
okay, good. Yeah. Ghost Runners 2. There's a demo that you can try now. It looks fucking fantastic. Like, Ghost Runners was a great game. Ghost Runners 2 set to be even better. They showed off 3 new controllers and faceplates. I'll send it to you in a message now, Broziv.
Yeah, buddy.
So you can check it out.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, wait. Why the fuck did you just send timeline, you dickhead?
Oh, that is a really good Lucifer cosplay. She's good at that. Also, we were talking D&D, so she did Percy, if anybody knows Critical Role Campaign 1. That's a really good Percy.
The Volcanic Red, which looks beautiful, like really fucking red. Cobalt Blue, again, another beautiful one. And Sterling Silver. Volcanic Red and Cobalt Blue coming out November 3rd. Sterling Silver, for some reason, coming out in January.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
Don't get that. But anyway, those colours look fantastic and they're coming out soon.
But
go on.
Why are we stuck on plain colours?
Yeah,
that's the bit I don't get. And they do look fantastic. Actually, that red looks incredible, and I'm a blue kind of guy. That red looks incredible. But could we maybe, like, now that we've got an amazing red, slap on some Spider-Man stuff to that?
A bit more exciting, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the Spider-Man plates. We've got the Spider-Man plates now, so those are available. Yeah. Anyway, but I get what you mean. Just a bit more variety, right?
Yeah.
A bit more variety. Helldivers 2 showing off some more co-op gameplay, and also it got delayed to 2024 as well. I'm kind of lukewarm on Helldivers 2. And then they showed the big one. They showed a surprise little snippets of gameplay, some more information about the game of Spider-Man 2. And oh my god, it looks freaking fantastic. They showed off the speed of the game. They've updated like how fast the web swing is going to be. Yeah. The web wings as well play into that whole thing about being able to fly fast. They showed off the map size as well. They've added Brooklyn and Queens to the map, so it's effectively doubled the size of the map it was from Spider-Man 1. And they showed off a shit ton of new suits that you'll be able to have in the game. Hot take, I don't care about the suits.
Do you know what's funny? I was going to say hot take. For once, I care about
Let's talk then, because we're polar opposites right here.
Usually I couldn't care. Like Ghost of Tsushima, as an example, I just don't care about the way stuff looks. Obviously,
you don't care at all about what you wear?
Not interested. I mean, obviously, something like Gosaku's armor, it should look a set kind of way.
Yeah.
But like I don't care about that stuff. I'm just not interested. I'm all about the stats. I only care about like min-maxing.
Okay.
Like I do not care. I prefer if it looks cool, but I will wear like a dog vomit.
If it was insta kill mode,
100%. Couldn't care less.
I don't care about the suits for a different reason. I don't like to mess up the originality. So, for example, in The Witcher 3, I used the original Witcher armor for far too long.
Oh, no, it was awful.
Too long.
Also, one of your big complaints about God of War Ragnarok was that his bear costume wasn't in it.
Exactly. And
okay, with you.
And what I really liked about the shoulder armor, which I used all the way through, by the way, the original shoulder armor, didn't touch any of the other nonsense. And two shoulders is sacrilege. Exactly. And what I liked about it was that it was a very subtle upgrade to what it originally was. Like maybe they added some gold in there and some stuff like that, and it looked great, but it kept its original tone. And with Spider-Man, even in Spider-Man Remastered, the only ones I ever went for were the original White Spider, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit, the Amazing Spider-Man suit, and that's it. And with Miles Morales, he's only his standard one. And every now and again, I played around with the Into the Spider-Verse suit, and that was about it. But everything else can go fuck itself. And when they showed off all of these suits, I was like, just not. Like they showed one with like a grunge look. I was like,
I'm gonna Google these.
Yeah, it's just not
Spider-Man.
Just not something I'm into. I just don't know.
What am I looking for?
Spider-Man 2. Yeah, 65 suits or something like that.
Yeah. Sorry, 1 second.
There's so many different variations, and like I said, I mean, I'm just not into them. You know, they even had Sam Raimi's black suit in there, symbiote suit, which is that was cool. So maybe I'll try that one as well. But yeah, just not really feeling it. You know?
You make a good case. Like I get what you're saying. I just think it can be fun, and I remember like back in the OG like game, there were cool suits, but the thing about those, and I presume it's the same in this, is like they didn't come. You had to like find them, like they were in the game, and it wasn't like you beat this boss, you get this suit. I think you got some of those, but like the really niche ones, and this is one of those reasons I've been trained to look everywhere, is you'd find this glowing thing somewhere really random. And like, cool, new suit. And I'm like, cool, what does this look like? So I'm kind of about that. And it doesn't, there's no stats or anything, so I don't see any reason to not change your look. Also, if you're trying to like, I guess if you're a Spider-Man content creator, you can change your costume based on the content you're going to make if you're going to make something specific for that day. I weirdly dig it. Usually I don't care about cosmetics in games. Like, you know, everybody's like, what's it called where you make... Oh God, I know this word. I'm so stupid. It's a word for where you take one suit and make it look like another, but it keeps the original stats. Transmog. It was like, oh my God, there's transmogs in X. I don't care. I couldn't care less. Or like, also, and in fairness, because I'm not one of the photo mode bros.
Yeah.
Like for them, it probably makes a lot of sense because they want to have to play to certain points of the game, and you want the best stuff for that.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't. I just don't care about transmogs. It's not my thing. But Spider-Man's an exception because there's a bunch of cool designs, and there's no design I've ever seen of Spider-Man that makes me go, I don't like Spider-Man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that as well. The only point that
if this was a Superman game and it was like, oh, bunch of Superman suits, would you be like, no, I'm only playing?
Here's the thing: I would only play
the original
with
and the black suit.
Specific ones. So, for example,
would you really?
Discussing Superman is a Superman Enjoyer, a Twitter account that I've followed, and we're talking and stuff like that. He's watching Smallville at the moment. He was saying,
I saw your message. Yeah.
If ever we got a Superman game and they gave a Tom Welling sort of like young Clark look. Yeah. Fuck, I would play with that. If we ever had a Christopher Reeve suit, I'd play with that. If we had a Henry Cavill one, I'd play with that. If we had a Tyler Hoechlin, whatever his name is, play with that. But if we have some next things where they just invert the colors for no reason,
that's stupid.
I'm just like, no, I don't like any of that. I don't want any of that.
What about like battle damage suit? So like
battle damage works.
Like, you know, like the whole one side like ripped off or something.
That works, and that would be in tune with some sort of story reason or something like that. That's what I would go with, something like that. Right, cool. But again, if they just go, we're going to make a white suit, and it's got and it's still got the same color, or like monotone like that. I'm like, no, I don't like any of that.
What about if it was a black and white? Like
black and white or black and silver?
No. If they made him black and white, like it was a black and white film. So like Superman's black and white, but you're in like a normal metropolis. But he's black and white, like from Spider-Verse.
Stupid. I don't like any of that shit.
You're stupid. I love that you have such strong opinions about things that I could not care less about.
Well, this is the thing. I've got these strong opinions, but in no way do I care what anyone else does. And I'm not going to say take them out. Like, I even said in my Twitter, I was like, hot take, I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'm cool with them being there, so just chill out, you know what I'm saying? And George came up to me and was like, well, they can be quite interesting and stuff like that. I was like, bro, I just don't like messing up the originality. That's my deal. The other big thing that they showed off in this whole thing was how incredibly fast the fast travel is, and I sent you a little Twitter link to your text messages. Check out how fast this was and how cool the entrance is with now
before it plays, what is this on? I see it's on a PlayStation.
It's on PlayStation 5. Yeah.
Ooh,
right. It does the whole like
that
zoom down into the map, and then he's just flying through the air already.
So that's slick, and that's also exactly what we were talking about way back when we were like, oh, the new memory is going to let you do some really interesting things without needing monster processing power. That's exactly what I was talking about, and that's a good image of it. Also, finally, a game that's making use of it other than like Ratchet and Clank. So, as I mentioned, Ghost of Tsushima, the fast travel times in that are offensively quick.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's jarring. Like, you press the thing and you load in. With this, like, I'm allowed the processing moment of, oh, that's right, we're swooping into the thing. And so that's why I would say this is better than Ghost of Tsushima, because actually Ghost of Tsushima might be faster or similarly quick.
What they've done is make it less jarring. They've put like
exactly. It's jarring.
A cool animation to make it like get you into it.
Yeah.
They could have just made you appear on a rooftop, but then granted that's faster, but is that interesting? Is that not not jarring?
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Also, it's not like the Destiny, you know, when you're going to a planet and Dinklebot says a thing and then you swoop in and then it loads and it swoops into the planet. It's not that every single time. It's a very quick...
He just does a flourish and then he's like, in there you go. Very, very cool. What else do we need to mention about the thing? It recently, just today, was revealed that...
Top comment, that shit looked next gen. Sorry.
It was revealed today that every single mode will have a ray tracing abilities built into it as well.
Okay.
So 30 FPS will obviously probably have like the highest resolution as well, but also have ray tracing. There's a 40 FPS option if you have 120 hertz screens or monitors and whatnot. And there's a 60 FPS option which will also have ray tracing enabled, which just shows how fucking great Insomniac are at this tech.
Controversial take. I'd rather get 120 FPS, no ray tracing.
Really?
That's the mode I would play.
Oh, shit.
Not even joking. If that was a mode, I'd never see ray tracing in the game. I'd be like, there's not ray tracing in the... Oh, wait,
no ray
just
tracing,
me.
bro.
And I appreciate, to your point, it shows just how incredible Insomniac are. I mean, my God. The fact that you can get 60 FPS and ray tracing on a console, mind blowing. I would rather get controversial take. I'd rather get 90 FPS and no ray tracing. I'm an FPS whore.
You're a hoe.
I am a hoe. I love it. I'm an FPS guy. I think it makes all the difference in the world. Anyways, but in fairness as well, this is one of those. This God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, the sorts of games you should have ray tracing on. I'm not going to do it, but you should.
Piggybacking off of the just before we go back into the state of play stuff, there was a creator and press event for Spider-Man 2 recently, and a lot of people got hands-on and are giving impressions, and today all of the impressions dropped for it, and I want to read a little bit out here from Game Informer. This is from, who's the person that wrote this? Marcus Stewart. He says, oh, here we go. With 2 fantastic Spider-Man games under Insomniac's belt, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 feels like the culmination of 2018 game and 2020's Miles Morales in all the best ways. At the recent preview event, I spent roughly 90 minutes swinging and gliding through its new and improved New York City, taking down scores of bad guys and even challenging the Lizard. When my session concluded, I walked away thinking one thing: the first 2 games swung, so this third act could soar. Very good way of putting it right there. I don't want to read all the rest because some people don't want to hear about any details before they go into it, but it's glowing. Everything that's coming out of it is very, very fantastic, talking about how everything seems more dense, everything seems more alive, the web swinging a lot more faster and feeling a lot better. It feels really, really cool. The
Xbots are at it again. So in the replies to this,
obviously gone.
One guy is gone tens of seconds, laughing face. Are you sure about that? Then posts one of the load screens from Starfield. It, by the way, takes 6 seconds for that to load, and it's not much. And then in the comments, replies to that, someone goes, "It's 5 seconds. It's nothing," and they don't know all the individual things Starfield has to charge. I think it means load.
Yeah.
All the things you have in every planet will be there, and the time doesn't matter. And it's like, but you.
Just made the
Spider-Man's loading in a bigger map every time.
Don't try it. You're just gonna hurt yourself.
Immersive and like, I'm not saying Starfield's not good, but like, that's not the win that you think it is. That's not the epic.
It's what
dunk.
I like to call intellectual dishonesty. It's
exactly.
You're being intellectually dishonest straight up.
Also, 2 things can be good at the same time.
Oh no! Don't tell them that. They can't hear that.
I'm actually going to reply to this guy. 2 things can be good at the same time.
What else did I want to say about Spider-Man? Oh, by the way, I want to update my prediction on who Venom is based on one screenshot.
Okay, it's Gwen. It's Aunt May.
I wish. Oh god, I wish it was Aunt May.
Zombie Aunt May.
That screenshot right there of Peter Parker fighting in the symbiote suit.
Yeah.
So previously, his suit looks like that.
Yeah.
All the lines are very crisp. All the lines are very straight. And in fact, the spider sort of goes up and then it just goes down behind his back, and that's it. In this one, the lines get a bit more jagged, a bit more Venom-like.
Maybe this is because he's more evil now.
Could be, like he's been attached to it for a lot longer. Could be. I think that maybe Peter actually becomes Venom, and they have to fight him towards the end. Like, he gets overtaken with the venom inside him, with the symbiote suit.
So your new groundbreaking idea is my original idea. Just to
shut up! No, you didn't say this. You never said this. It's not on record, guys.
I'm expecting a freaking correcting Conbrosations really fire. But if you don't do it, you prove that you're a paid actor by this freaking shill.
It's paying him off, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, Spider-Man 2, really excited about that. Let me read quickly Car 56 comment right here. Yeah, here we go. On to the GOAT. Spider-Man 2, this game looks so freaking beautiful, and the map is amazing. I can't wait to swing around Queens and Brooklyn. By the way, he sent me the screenshots, and he was like, there's a chance that we might see the 99th precinct of Brooklyn in Spider-Man 2. You know I'm going to go there and be like, 99!
99! Oh my god.
Could be a cool Easter egg.
Imagine if, like... God, if I can see, like, Captain Holt.
Oh!
in game, that will be
through the window.
Gotti right there.
Right there. I'm gonna crawl all around Midtown High and Brooklyn Visions. Bet they're gonna be stocked with Easter eggs. Sorry. Switching looks good. The extra arms look dope. And then when Peter and Miles team up to take down the bad guy, it's just so damn good. I can't wait to face Mysterio and Kraven. Yeah, we think it's Mysterio, although I don't know if they've actually said it. However, it's a guy in green, and there's like green projections in the sky. Who could it be?
Yeah.
You know?
Gosh. Theories are running wild on the internet.
Wraith and Venom and the Lizard and whoever else is in the game. The map looks so much easier to use. I did struggle with the first 2018 game due to the weird angle. Upgrade systems look a lot easier. Suits look dope, especially the Raimi black suit. Yeah, I did say that was in there. That was pretty cool. Can't wait to see the rest of them. Onto the Digital Lux trailer. I've already ordered it, but it's great to see the suits in action. We get a bit more of a glimpse of the Lizard, and the dude looks amazing. Out of these suits, I'm probably going to use the 25th century. Oh, let me have a look at what this one is. 25th century apocalyptic.
I'm just going to say it's a controversial take. If the Raimi suit doesn't allow you to do the dance, worst game of the year.
Fucking.
If it doesn't come with that dance, if you can't just,
the finger back.
Yeah, the finger guns. I'm gonna straight up say this is the worst game ever made.
Yeah, these suits suck. Card, just so you know. I'm just not going to deviate from this whole thing that is shit. There we go. For Peter, then we'll see him stopping a roller coaster. Yeah, he was stopping a roller coaster in one of these suits. That's pretty good. For Miles, my favorite suits are the Biomechanical and Red Spectre. Anyways, that's enough for my comment. Can't wait for October 20th because I am going to disappear for a week or 2 or 3. Thank you very much for writing in there, Carl. Love you, bro. By the way, his first part of his comment, like I said about the Ghost Riders thing, Ghostbusters Rise thing, he was like, will be the greatest thing since the Lord has given us for VR games of all time. Nothing will even come close to this greatness. So yeah, he's really excited about that. Continuing on with the state of play. What else do we have? Tales of Arise, the Foam Stars, fucking Foam Stars. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. We got confirmation of a collector's edition, which costs $350. Ridiculous. And a release date. Come on, there was a release date. 29th of February. Which is a leap year. Is that real or is that fake?
Isn't that next year? The 24th?
If it is,
then it has to be because we've already had February in this year.
There we go. Is it coming up this year? Anyway, so that got announced right there, and that was a pretty cool show. Quick aside, because I just saw it here regarding this collector's edition. Did you see the PlayStation UK Twitter account that made a bit of an accidental meme?
No.
They were trying to advertise the collector's edition for Spider-Man 2, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing they made a ton of them, and they're hoping to shift it all by the time it comes out. And the statue is 19 inches tall.
I did see this.
The tweet about...
I was all 19 inches.
Get 19 inches of Venom, and everyone on the internet's like, say, what? Like, or 19 inches of what? Oh my God.
That has to be intentional.
I don't know.
It's got to be, surely.
I don't know. It's like... I saw some of the community managers for Insomniac, but like, I have notes about this tweet. Oh boy. Anyway, that's everything that happened there. An okay showcase. It was bolstered pretty much by the Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't just another trailer, and it was actually something quite substantial. Yeah. Otherwise, it would have been quite a crappy little event, but it was alright. It was okay.
Do you think we set the bar too high for these events?
Oh yeah. Well, the problem is that they've put themselves in an awkward position because we have so little.
I don't know that it's just us overhyping these events. I think they put themselves in the position for the hype to be there.
Exactly, because we don't know a lot of things that are coming out from a lot of studios. We're expecting a showcase any time now.
Yeah.
But we don't have any idea of when that's going to be, and it's just a matter of like, well, they must show something here because we have no idea what's happening after Spider-Man. What's happening after Spider-Man? What's in your mind happening after Spider-Man?
There are no more games.
Exactly. We know about Wolverine, but we have no idea of when that's going to come, what's going to happen there. In fact, Insomniac's cinematic animator, Tommy Mann, tweeted out that he can't wait for people to play Spider-Man 2 on PS5. However, he has just moved over to the new team working on Wolverine.
That's cool.
Which is cool and whatnot, stuff like that, knowing that's happening. But that's literally all we know.
I know it's Insomniac, but in my head, that Wolverine doesn't come out for 3 more years.
Right? I mean, they said it comes out next year.
I know
that's
it's
when they
Insomniac.
first said it,
there's no chance.
Surely not.
There's
right?
no chance. Even for Insomniac, there's no chance.
Anyway.
I mean, it is Insomniac. I'm not putting money on it, but I'm gentleman's agreement bet not coming out next year.
Yeah, so that's I think it's based on what they've done. They've left a lot of question marks, and now we're just waiting to find out what the fuck's all about. Okay, next topic, Starfield.
Yep.
So I'm gonna read out very quickly first of all from Vit. I put Witter instead of Twitter, which is still twitter.com for some reason.
You're so smart.
Yeah. Here we go. Wait, that's not right. Sorry about this, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Where's his reply? Oh, wait, it's a message. Here we go. Okay, so he says, about Starfield. He sent me a clip, by the way, of someone turning a pot and putting it on top of a guy's head.
Right.
And then being able to steal everything in the room because the guy technically can't see you. I thought it was hilarious.
There's one where people are punching goods off of the shelves and then kicking them out the door and shutting the door, and they take
yeah. I've seen people get like a tub and they like there's like credits on the table and they swoop the credits into the tub and they take the tub out and then they're like, hey, I didn't steal anything. Hilarious.
So can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
Is that a funny quirk about the game, or is this game 20 years out of date?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah,
I think it's funny quirk. We can look at it as funny, but clearly it's not meant to be. Clearly, it's not meant to be like that. Because that breaks immersion. The whole point of this is immersion. You're supposed to put yourself in the game. It's a role-playing game.
Yeah.
And that isn't realistic.
That isn't right. Yeah.
What's really funny is that they do a bunch of things that would indicate that they've thought about stuff. Like, for example, they've in the toilets, you can turn the toilet paper the other way around, so the paper comes from the back or the front. And
why on earth would you do that?
You wouldn't do it for any other reason other than it's just like a cool little thing they've put in there, like a little Easter egg. And you think, okay, they've thought about things like this, but then they completely haven't thought about more fundamental things like that, for example. And it's like, okay, you're pretending that you're really good at this, but you're not really good at this, are you? Anyway, Vit says, I've played 30 hours I've put 30 hours in Starfield, and I feel like I'm still at the first section of the story. Only did like 7 to 6 main missions. The rest are side quests, and it's hard to tell what's considered main story, because it seems like there are 3 to 4 branches of the quest, and it all feels like the main story. And my character got married to Sarah, who I think is the main blonde woman, but I'm not sure, and now rocking a 230k credits. You married up right there. And an starship for a side quest. No indication of me being bored from the game, and not even the slightest. That's fucking great to hear, mate.
That is great.
I'm happy that you you feel that way. Speaking of Starfield, though, do you remember last time we spoke? We got the initial Metacritic scores and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it was sitting at an 88.
Yeah.
And at the time, a bunch of people didn't get codes and they didn't get a chance to play the game, so they couldn't give their reactions. And it was more well-known critics and stuff like that. And it was based on like 55.
People we suspected would be honest.
Yeah. 55. Well, not even so honest, because at the end of the day, they're like journalists and stuff like that. But it was very clear who they were sending it to. It was Xbox Addict, Xbox.com, Xbox this, Xbox that. These very clearly people who are going to be biased and whatnot, and all the console warriors on Twitter and stuff like that got them. It's sitting at an 88, and I said to you, I was like, it's going to drop over the next couple of days when these other companies get and stuff like that, provided that they
and
give a lower
users
score.
Get it and see it. Yeah.
It's dropped down to an 83, which isn't as bad.
No,
but it's also quite weird because there's not as many reviews as you would get from a normal game. Like normally you'd get like 110 reviews on say like Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West, something like that. But on this one we've only got 77.
I have the impression that this game is leaving a lot of people... You know how I described the ending of Cyberpunk? Just a bit hollow. I think this game's just a bit hollow, where people don't hate it enough to review it, don't like it enough to review it. They played it and they're just moving on.
It does
they're going
seem
back to Counter-Strike. That's a 30-year-old game or something.
It does seem like a genuine like 7 out of 10 game. That's like in the middle like that. And that's what Steam is rating at the moment. So a lot of people... Not myself, I don't really frequent Steam that often, but a lot of people see Steam as the golden standard.
I think that's probably more accurate, yeah.
Because it's a lot more like users and it's a lot more political. Like you have to have owned the game, you have to, and it comes up by your name as well, whether or not you was given a code for free and stuff like that when you give your review. So that carries a different weight and stuff like that. And it's sitting at a 72% out of 100.
Yeah,
so
I'm not shocked by that.
It seems about that level.
But
it doesn't seem like a bad
say,
game. It seems like a 7 out of 10.
It also seems like one of the better sci-fi games in a long time. Like, I think the only game similar to it for a long time was probably Mass Effect. From the look of things, I'd say Mass Effect's a better game, and that this is the sort of game that I think it probably should have gone head to head with Mass Effect 3 back in like 2014 or whenever that came out. But I mean, it's a space exploration game. If that's what you're looking for, then that's that this is it. But I think it's maybe missed the mark, but it's not got a lot of competition. What other sci-fi games are out there?
Yeah,
name me one. So you got Halo Infinite, The Expanse, the show on Amazon.
Yeah,
that got a game, but it's like niche and small. I mean, it's not like a game. It's a dev house somewhere made a game. It's like a small thing. So like, what else are you gonna play if you want sci-fi? Well, here you go. Right. So I think it's lucky that it doesn't have competition in its space. Let's just say that. And that's not to kick Xbox. That's to say, come on, guys. Like, you could do it. You could. I've heard the story's good, though. I've heard the story's really engaging.
I've heard the story's good.
I don't know anything about it.
I do have to go back to the question, though, because... amongst the people that are calling this the game of the generation,
I mean, it's obviously not. It's demonstrably not, right?
Unfortunately, it's the people being disingenuous in it.
It might be Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate 3 being the game of the generation. Yeah. Who knows? I'm loving it, so maybe. They're like the game of the generation. Amongst these people, they're still saying the things that we took issue with, where I said, even if this is a 10 out of 10, game of the year, whatever it is, game of the generation, how does that mean that Xbox are going to produce good games in the future?
Yeah.
Because until now, they haven't been able to do it. This studio making this game, they're not going to make another game for another, like, minimum 5 years, probably like 8 years, something like that. So why does that instill so much confidence in Xbox in you now? Because... I don't see why. I don't see what's going to happen.
I feel you.
Really odd.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel what you're saying, especially because, and this was almost the worst case, was that they're going to look at this and Phil Spencer's going to go, look, see, we made the best game of the generation, we made the best game of the year, and nothing happened. When actually we all know that he's not being honest. Like, it's the best game on Xbox because there's no games on Xbox. Best game of the generation because you've made no games this generation. All that stuff can be true, and like, it's a meh. It's not even a flash in the pan. It's a 7. Like, I was gonna say when Sony drops a 7, like, it gets ignored. But has Sony dropped any 7s?
I think the last 7 that I remember that got dropped was Days Gone, and we saw what happened to Days Gone.
Yeah,
like the sequel got scrapped. The company's working on something completely different, and they were bounced around for a while and whatnot. The problem is that the bar for Sony is so much more higher because they've made so much more greatness that now they've set a bar for themselves. Whereas because Xbox has just made
nothing for years and
everything they have made has been kind of like a void. Anything they make that's kind of resembles a game, they're like, Amazing. Great. Good work, guys. Pat on the back. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Talking about, just very quickly about Days Gone.
Yeah.
I know you really loved the game. Is it a 7 out of 10, or did people not understand it?
I think it's more of an 8. I think it's like...
And I'm asking you, you know the way I rate like Elden Ring and Sifu, right? I hated those games, but I think they're good.
Yeah. The thing is that on the Metacritic score, the 7 is more like a 5 out of 10 in our standards.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of an 8 out of 10 in our standards. I think it was quite good. I think there was a lot of things it did very nice. Yeah. It did like zombie hordes in a way that I've not seen done before. Yeah. The whole like motorbike thing was quite cool. I like the motorbike gang sort of aesthetic. People didn't like a lot of the... It was a slow burn. I'll give it that. It was a slow burn there, and the game does go on a little bit.
Yeah.
So there is that. But also, some people just didn't like... Some of the reviewers just didn't like the way that some of the characters were speaking. Like I told you, there's that joke that it was brought up 1,000 times of they're getting married just by themselves, sort of like while the world's ending and stuff like that. And it's very intimate, their own thing. These two people that love each other and have got their own jokes and stuff. And she says, just promise me one thing. Promise to ride me as much as you ride your motorbike. Yeah. And that's like an internal joke between two people who are in love. And I'm sure everybody who's listening who has like a girlfriend...
I think that's a reference to something.
Maybe?
That might be a reference to like their favourite movie or something. I know there's a...
Maybe.
So anyway...
But the idea is that you probably have a weird joke that no one else gets with your girlfriend. 100. And I have the same thing with my one. Yeah. People have that kind of thing. It's a genuine thing. But people are like, they were like upset because a woman said it. And it's like, you're so fucking weird. I was like, I don't understand social politics sometimes, because sometimes they're like, a woman can say this, but they can't say this. So a woman should be able to say anything, but they shouldn't be able to say that. I don't get it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and predict why people didn't like that. Sorry, we'll get to more relevant games in a second. These are people that their partners don't enjoy sleeping with them, and they don't understand that girls like sex too, because girls do like sex, and they'll make sex jokes with you if they enjoy having sex with you. And these guys don't get that. You know, I think their partners suffer through sex with them once every fortnight or once every like 3 months.
It's like, it's your birthday.
Yeah. Just get it over quickly.
We've got 10 minutes. Just do it.
Yeah, exactly. That would be genuinely my guess. Cool, yeah, because I was just curious about that. But, I think this was the worst scenario where the game's okay. Phil Spencer can say it's the best game that they've made all generation, best game they've made in 10 years sort of thing. And look, see, people didn't sell their PlayStation to buy an Xbox. So, anyway.
One final thing, or two things actually. Let me mention it in this order. This is a small one. Stig, I can't say his name, Asmussen, the director for God of War 3. Yeah. So the former lead for God of War 3, and the director for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is actually leaving EA to work on something else. And I only bring this up because I got to... No, we don't know what yet. I only bring this up because I got to meet him, and he was such a cool guy, and he was... Cool. Really into video games, so I hope it's more video games he's making, and we get to see more of him because he's a really awesome dude. And then the last thing to round this out, Apple announced their iPhones the other day. Yeah, and something really interesting. I only understood it. I'm sure the people there didn't understand shit about it, but they are having full-fledged games being able to be played on iPhone. Yeah. Death Stranding is coming to iPhone. Resident Evil 4 is coming to iPhone. And I saw the looks of them. They don't look very much downgraded. They look all right.
I love the idea of an iPhone being a better place to play a game than a Series S.
Oh, that's the worst part. And the worst part is that they have ray tracing enabled as well. Now, here's the funny thing. The reason... Some people might be thinking that's ridiculous. The reason for it is because Apple at one point fell out with Intel, because Intel were... kind of throttling what they were capable of. They were doing the thing that everybody says that Apple does, basically. But they're like, we're not innovating, we're just going to incrementally update, and then next year we'll do another one. They will do another one. And they kind of got pissed off at it. So they decided to make all of their own CPUs. And as judged by this laptop, it's immensely powerful and really low heat, really low energy consumption. And that's just fantastic. And they've done the same thing with phones. And they've got to the point where they have so much computing power, just as long as you optimize it in the Apple way. Yeah. And Apple are because it's their phone, they want it to be successful. They're going to all these developers and teaching them how to do it and making it get done. I want to see what Death Stranding looks like on an iPhone, just to be like...
Well, I know you're going to be playing it.
I will
sure,
play it.
Yeah.
I think I want to get it just to be like...
I'll be really curious to know how long your battery life lasts while playing.
That's what I'm interested in as well. But as I said, the new chips, they're very energy efficient, super ridiculous. Like, you can't imagine. Like, if you see a graph, it's like this is the old phone and down here's the thing like that. That's the whole idea with these new chips. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Be interesting to see what happens on them. And that's all the topics that we have for today, bro. How do you feel about that? How's that episode for you?
Yeah, I learned something about you and your choice of skins in games.
Yes.
That's an interesting one to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know that about you. I did not know that.
I didn't know that you don't conform to the best way, obviously. So
I'm not a conformist.
You conform.
One of us.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the True Gamer podcast. Yep. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and we hope to see you guys again in 2 weeks' time. We'll have also the Conbrosations podcast and this one as well.
Yeah, buddy.
It'll be great. Coming at the end of next week, we'll be at the Cyberpunk party. So have a look at our socials for all
really
pictures
looking
and stuff like that. It's gonna be quite
cool.
Cool.
Before we go, I know everybody turned off, so it's just for me. The update's out next week.
Yes.
Are you going to start playing Cyberpunk next week? Or are you going to wait for the thing to drop? Are you, like, where are you in your cycle? Because I haven't started Baldur's Gate 3 yet.
Yeah.
I probably will. Because I've already played Cyberpunk and, like, I know it's good. And you also need to watch Edgerunners, obviously.
Obviously, I mean, it's amazing. So obviously,
if it comes up and you haven't watched it and people mention it, you're going to be so embarrassed.
I'm going to be so bad. But I'm good at blagging. As long as you don't throw me under the bus. But like, what did you think of the turn in Act 3 of episode 2?
Obviously, the character motivations for this is, you know, like,
you fucking asshole, you'd do it as well.
While you're talking to Idris Elba about something, so I'm a big fan
first of all, he wouldn't know shit. He wouldn't know jack
he's
shit
a professional. He'll have watched Edgerunners.
He's not a fucking weeb, okay? He's touched vagina.
Is Idris Elba a weeb?
What's it going to be like? Yeah, it is. I will say, I don't know if this is... Obviously, I've not been in the weeb community for a while.
Yeah.
But when I think of weeb, I think of the stereotypical, you know, guy who doesn't see daylight, pale skin and stuff like that. Yeah. But I'm seeing a lot more... Like, black people get involved in anime and stuff like that. Oh, they're big into,
like, Dragon Ball Z and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's weird that, like, and One Piece.
And it's not got into more animes and more. Like, there's a podcast that I listen to. These guys, you wouldn't think they're too cool to be into anime.
I think I know the two dudes you're talking about.
And I'm like, they talk about anime. I was like, this guy is mad. So it's. I mean, he could be. I know Michael B. Jordan is a big anime fan. So
there's some really interesting... This could be taken in such a racist way, but there are really interesting, like, divides racially by like what anime people are into. So like Japanese will really have like obscure tastes. Right. So like for them, anime is the way like
the Dead
TV shows is for us, right? Like some guys watch reality TV with their chicks. So for them, that's sort of how most of them view anime, right? As well as obviously the big ones, like the big shows that are out, like whatever your anime of Game of Thrones is, they'll all watch that. Lots of them will watch that. But then there's like more slice of life type ones. In the West, in particular, like the black weebery, they really love Dragon Ball Z, which, I mean, amazing. There's no wrong choices here, but they love Dragon Ball Z. They love Demon Slayer. One Piece is in there. One Punch Man. Like, it's... Which is not to say that other people don't love them, but, like, you find other things. So, like, My Hero Academia, not so huge in, like, the black weeb community. Not that it's a group, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just really interesting that if you were to bring up Dragon Ball Z, if you're two weebs, you bring up a black...
Well, it's like music,
guy.
Isn't it? Like certain types of music are done by certain types of people. Like, you're not going to get very many, like, black people that are like Taylor Swift, for example, or something like that. It's
or would admit to it, yeah.
Yeah, who would admit to it? That's what, So it's just like those kind of, like... It's built into.
Really, Dragon Ball Z is a huge one in that. And I love OG DBZ, so... Yeah. My point is, Idris Elba, obviously a weeb. Definitely.
He's a man of culture, okay?
Definitely. My man was in... Do you know Pacific Rim? You know that was intended to be like a Gundam / Ava show, right? So he's in the OG...
They're infiltrating us.
mecha movie.
They're infiltrating us by showing us cool versions and then trying to switch it on us to be like, look, it's actually based on weeb shit.
You're actually a weeb. So like, imagine, and here's what's going to happen. You're getting replaced. Me and Idris are going to get into about anime, and this whole show is switching to an anime show, but we're recording it at his gaff, and you're not even going to be. We'll let you edit it.
Oh, thanks.
So me and Idris. So boys, you heard it here first. Me and Idris. You can tweet him. He knows about it now. I'm going to steal Idris away from you by talking to him about anime. If he turns up, if we're there and he turns up, I'm going to ask him if he watched Edge Runners. Does he watch anime?
If you do that, and you do flop and you fail, and you just like he's just like,
no, I'm gonna do it cold. Like, oh yeah, did you catch that Edge Runners? Did you watch it for the? What is your opinion on
no, but if he says like, no, I've got a life and I also like vagina,
well, obviously,
then I'd be like, yeah, me too. Actually, I didn't watch any of that shit. This guy's a loser over here. He's still a virgin, so don't even bother.
I'll start quoting that German politician's.
Immediately to Hitler. What is it with this show? I'm going to end it here because we'll go down a dark path there. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the episode. Well, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Gaming. If
I'm still here, I didn't get murdered by Idris Elba. Or he's a weeb.
His security officer's just like, let me have a word with you.
I need to have a chat with you.
Outside. Never see you again. All right. Catch you later, boys. That German politician.